around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, 43 games into his first season in Milwaukee. The Bucks fired coach Adrian Griffin, reports ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. The team is second in the NBA's Eastern Conference, 30-13, but concerns with defensive issues and felt the move was needed, explains Woj.
They looked at where this team was, how it was responding under Griffin, although the second best record right now, 30-13, that they have such a tight championship window with Giannis Antetokounmpo, certainly the Damian Lillard trade, which happened after they hired Griffin as head coach. And they made a decision to make the change.
Bucks plan to quickly pursue a small pool of accomplished and available veteran head coaches. Doc Rivers near the top of that list. Heat's getting a much-needed jolt, acquired gifted scoring guard Terry Rozier for Kyle Lowry and a protected 2027 first-round pick. That's also from Woj. Rozier's having one of his best NBA seasons. Miami's dropped 3 straight, is currently 6th in the Eastern Conference. The NBA suspended Cavaliers center Tristan Thompson 25 games after testing positive for 2 banned substances. Both are PEDs.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Wednesday. I'll tell you if the Super Bowl is the Ravens to lose. It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. We got a ton to do. Former LSU great Ashleigh Gnat here in about 15 minutes. Sean Salsbury in hour 3. Mel Kiper's got a new mock draft. Saints are interviewing OC candidates, but we begin the same way we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, this might be the worst kept secret around town, but just about everybody is reporting it now today, something we've talked about here, and I think everybody's really talked about. But it looks as though Joe Sloan and Cortez Hankton will be promoted as co-offensive coordinators, the same arrangement that LSU had in the ReliaQuest Bowl against Wisconsin. Yes, the ReliaQuest Bowl, where LSU scored 35 points and put up 500 yards of offense. So this isn't a great surprise. We have been talking about this for a couple of weeks now, as it really started to gain momentum really in the last 2 weeks, as all of the conversation out of LSU and UAS was like, this was the momentum, this was the decision they were going to make, was to promote Joe Sloan and Cortez Hankton as co-offensive coordinators. So I am a bit conflicted on this. I'm going to get to that in a second. But listen, Cortez Hankton right now is, look at the path he's taken. From playing in the NFL to starting his coaching career at Dartmouth, then going to Vanderbilt, then going to Georgia, and then LSU came and plucked him away from the national champions when they brought him closer to home. They paid him more money. Around $850K was what got him away from Georgia. And then obviously the opportunity for advancement, which now he has. Joe Sloan, look, he was the offensive coordinator at Louisiana Tech. He left from being a group of 5 OC to being a Power 5 position coach because he knew this was an opportunity for him to advance, to go from a Power 5 position coach to a Power 5 OC, then ultimately to a head coach. So Sloan at 38 years old is now LSU's co-OC and primary play caller. So this is advancement for two guys that have been good assistants on your staff and guys that are rising in the coaching ranks. It's just that for Hankton, remember, he played professional football. So his coaching career got started later. So even at 42 years old, it could seem like, when is that advancement? When is that acceleration going to come? Well, it's here now for both of these guys. And on a personal level, I feel great for both of them. They're good men and great coaches, and this is an awesome opportunity for both of them. I mentioned that I'm a little bit conflicted because I really do like this move. I really do, and I will get into why this makes all the sense in the world. But there is risk involved. Now, there is risk involved in literally every coaching hire ever. When you are at a premier program, though, and you have the resources like in LSU, generally you minimize risk with your hires. When LSU hired Brian Kelly, there was far less risk than if LSU had hired a first-time head coach. When LSU hired Brian Kelly, there was far less risk than when they hired Ed Orgeron. Put it to you that way. And Ed Orgeron wasn't a first-time head coach, but he had been a failed head coach, right? I'm not here to litigate that, but to relitigate that. But we all understand what I'm saying here. Brian Kelly had been a head coach. So same here. Hiring Mike Denbrock, who had been a successful offensive coordinator everywhere for 2 decades, far less risk than taking a chance on a first-time OC. And I understand Sloan isn't a first-time OC or a first-time play caller, but we're going to get into that. And maybe I am a little influenced by LSU's history here. In 2008, LSU, Bo Pelini left to go to Nebraska to become the head coach. 2008, Les Miles promotes Bradley Dale Pivito, Doug Mallory, co-defensive coordinators. It was a disaster. After 1 year, they were both fired, and they stabilized things by bringing in an established defensive coordinator in John Chavis, and it worked. 2021, Ed Orgeron, replacing veteran offensive coordinator Steve Ensminger. He hires a first-time play caller, a young guy in Jake Peets, and it blew up on you. So there's risk. And maybe it's just because I've seen circumstances like this before not work. So I'm trying to block that out of my mind and focus on this tandem in a vacuum and not be influenced by past circumstances, because I like this. Now, I don't love the idea of co-offensive coordinators or co-anything, because the old adage is if you have 2 voices, then you don't have one, right? Or you don't have any. But Cortez Hankton played in the NFL. Every receiver that comes through this offense, that's their goal, is to go play in the NFL, and that guy did it. And there is no arguing with the job he has done developing receivers at Georgia and at LSU. You cannot argue it. Look at the leaps and bounds Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas made over the last 2 years under Cortez Hankton. That is inarguable. Guys respect him. He's been where they want to go. He has their ear. He's a great recruiter. I love promoting Cortez Hankton. Joe Sloan is a rock star. He is a rising star in this profession. He's 38 years old. He spent 9 years as an assistant at Louisiana Tech. Prior to that, he was at South Florida, started grinding at East Carolina. At 38 years old, dude's been grinding for the better part of 2 decades already. So he's paid his dues. There's no debating that. And when you look at the success that LSU has had the past couple of seasons, you can draw a direct line to the job Joe Sloan has done. I asked Brian Kelly during this past football season, late in the year, about Mike Denbrock and the credit Denbrock deserved in that offense being ranked the number 1 offense in the country. And Kelly was quick to point out that Sloan deserved credit as well.
There's an offensive coordinator that is responsible for, orchestrating this, and play calling, has a lot to do with it. If our offense isn't going well, Mike Denbrock will get a ton of criticism for, what would be happening on offense. So he deserves a lot of credit for what's happening on the offensive side of the ball. But it is a shared responsibility. Joe Sloan is intimately involved in everything we do. Cortez Hankton is. Brad is. Coach Wilson. There's somebody that's going to get a lot of the credit because of the title, but everybody has a shared responsibility. And when it comes to the quarterback, Joe Sloan should get, a lion's share of the credit because he's in that room with them every single day.
That quarterback, of course, was Jaden Daniels, who won the Heisman Trophy, who developed exponentially the last 2 years under Joe Sloan. Next year's quarterback is Garrett Nussmeier, who Joe Sloan has been tutoring the past 2 years and threw for over 300 yards in the bowl game. And Nussmeier was asked about his relationship with Joe Sloan.
It's been really good for me. Coach Sloan has really, really helped me become a better player and a better person. And getting to work with him one-on-one every day it's definitely helped my career a lot. And I think that was part of the reason why I came back was Coach Sloan and the relationship we have and the ability that I believe he has to coach me.
So if you're following, Sloan helped develop Jaden Daniels, is part of the reason that Garrett Nussmeier came back, called plays there in the bowl game, was the primary recruiter on Bryce Underwood, the 5-star number 1 quarterback in the country for 2025, who's committed, and has been an offensive coordinator. Joe Sloan was an OC at Louisiana Tech for 3 years. Now, we only call plays for one of those years. So that really is the one big question for Sloan. Everything is there. He can recruit. He can teach the quarterback position. He understands offense. He is a rising star. All that's a check, 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 check. He just doesn't have a ton of experience as a play caller and certainly not at the Power 5 level. But Nussmeier talked about the game that Joe Sloan called after the bowl game.
Yeah, no, I think Coach Sloan did an amazing job. We've been working on this for 2 weeks, and I think he put a great plan together. I think him and Coach Hank put a great plan together, and I think he did an amazing job calling the plays and getting us in the groove and giving us opportunities to make plays and get in rhythms.
So you can understand why Brian Kelly has come to this conclusion. And so for me, the real question is, do you trust Brian Kelly? And I do. I say it repeatedly. Brian Kelly has a track record as a head coach of parts of 4 decades to suggest, yeah, he's a really good head coach that can hire and knows how to structure an organization and can handle this. So while I love the hire in a vacuum, I look at past issues with situations like this and go, I've seen that not work before. But I trust Brian Kelly, and I think you got 2 amazing coaches here. The other thing I'll tell you is I love the idea of the young offensive coordinator because it's so in vogue now. And you could look at the NFL and you could see guys like Mike McDaniel and Kevin O'Connell, Sean McVay, Joe Brady. I mean, that is what's in vogue, right? That's mostly in the NFL, but there have been great instances like this at the college game. Maybe none bigger or more glaring than Lincoln Riley. Remember, Lincoln Riley became the offensive coordinator at East Carolina at 27 years old. He was there for 5 years. Then at 32, Bob Stoops hired Lincoln Riley to be his offensive coordinator. And when Stoops retired, he handpicked Lincoln Riley to take over at Oklahoma. You realize Lincoln Riley is only 40 years old? You realize that? Lincoln Riley is 2 years younger than Cortez Hankton. And he's been the head coach at Oklahoma and now at USC. So if you see that thing, whatever it is, in a young guy, okay. So Cortez Hankton, Joe Sloan promoted to co-offensive coordinators. It's a risk. Brian Kelly could have made a safe hire. He could have gone out and got a proven play caller with decades of experience at the Power 5 level. He could have done that. But he's taken a risk on 2 guys that he knows have been on his staff, have performed at every level, and really it's just a matter of now how do they function together and how does it function on game day? And we'll get that answer. What a big stage, speaking of, against Lincoln Riley and the Trojans in the opener out in Las Vegas. Joe Sloan, Cortez Hankton being reported co-OCs for LSU in 2024. All right, it's after further review. Our show Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light. Of course, if you're going to be at the LSU women's basketball game on Thursday, LSU against South Carolina, make sure you grab those LSU women's basketball Collectors National Championship bottles, the aluminum bottles, the 16-ounce purple aluminum bottles that we have here on the set with us every day. Tons of koozies as well. We are going to be doing a watch party at Pluckers. So if you can't get into the game because secondary ticket prices are obnoxious, come hang out with us at Pluckers on Nicholson. We'll watch the game starting at 7 o'clock. We'll have these Bud Light National Championship koozies. We'll have swag from Hudco, Bud Light, other 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. So if you need a place to watch the game on Thursday, if you can't get into the Maravich Center, come hang out with us at Pluckers and our friends over at Bud Light. All right, it's after further review. Ashleigh Gnat, former Tiger great gymnast, will be with us next. We'll talk a little bit about the gymnastics squad, but also what we've been telling you about the event coming up at the Maravich Center this coming Wednesday, promoting mental health for athletes and for everyone. Looking forward to it. It's AFR.
AFR.
Glow Resources, GLO, glowresources.com. Complete employer solutions. Check them out at Glow Resources and online at glowresources.com. I mention this to you often, but at Glow Resources, they judge themselves and they score themselves on how long their employees stay with their customers. That's how they judge their success. And they have a 93% retention rate. Y'all, I'm telling you, if you're a business owner and you have struggled to find employees, qualified employees, Glow Resources can help you. If it's skilled blue-collar labor, welders, carpenters, heavy equipment operators, crane operators, maybe you need their white-collar division. From management positions, accounting services, Glow Resources can help. Check them out online at GLO, glowresources.com. That's glowresources.com.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ford F-150 lifted trucks. $10,000 off new Ford F-150 and 3.9% financing. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
It was a humid day. Barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Happy New Year from your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next level? Get the boat of your dreams, and that's where Front to Back comes into play. You want that spot lock trolling motor that's going to keep you right there on the water where you need to be. How about some forward-facing sonar that actually shows you the fish before you even cast? Custom stereo jobs, all of it. Sherman family's been doing it for 38 years. Go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The best.
She thinks my tractor's sexy. It really turns her on. She's always staring at me.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Always a big shout out to our friends over at Sunshine. You want a tractor? You know you're buying a deer. You want a deer in Louisiana? You're getting it from Sunshine. 17 locations, Bunkie and below. Sunequip.com. Sunequip.com. I had the great pleasure yesterday to talk to Kevin Falk. Our buddy Brandon Seho will be here tomorrow. Right now, a former LSU gymnast, one of the all-time greats in the history of the program, a 17-time All-American who is now a national champion, who is also now on staff as an assistant coach, who will be part of this event, planting seeds of hope, part of the mental game, benefiting the Rain Will Bring Flowers Foundation, coming up this Monday at the Maravich Center. It is Ashleigh Gnat. Ashleigh, it's a pleasure. How are you?
I'm good. How are y'all? Thank you guys for having me.
It's our pleasure. We're going to talk about the event in a second, but while I got you, I figured let me talk a little bit about the squad this year. Big win this past Friday against Kentucky, and it was kind of a bounce back, I know, on Beam as well. What was the week like preparing the girls to get ready for that event in particular?
Definitely. So it's been a process all fall talking through what Beam is going to look like for us, and we start early on talking about the mental game and just how important it is that they have their own process. And so to not see that show in the first two meets was obviously not exactly what we wanted and not exactly what we were hoping for. And so just kind of approaching it from an attack mindset, that we approach all of the other events with so much excitement and enthusiasm, and that's the same way that we wanted to approach Beam on Friday night. We felt like that was a big turning point for us. Obviously, I've seen them practice so well, so many consecutive days in a row. So for the audience, for the fans to just be able to see exactly the way that they've been practicing was a good turning point, and then obviously a step in the right direction.
Do you ever? You're not that far removed from being like the greatest gymnast in LSU history at the time that you were done. Do you ever look and go, like, just let me do it?
No, absolutely not. It's been longer than people think. I will say that. It's been a little bit longer. And so, no, I definitely just let them get up there and do their thing.
It's got to be interesting for you, I would assume anyway, watching Haley Bryant, because she broke your record for the number of perfect 10s in a career, and she's not done. And I think, Ashleigh, you're an appropriate person to ask this to, because you're in the conversation. Is Haley Bryant the greatest gymnast that LSU's ever had?
I would be hard-pressed to find another gymnast better than Haley Bryant. She is remarkable in every single way. Being able to work with her every single day is such an honor, but just to see her work ethic, her leadership, the way that she comes in, her approach, and to just watch her flourish on the competition floor is a privilege in itself. So if you're asking me, I'm going to say it's a yes. But, we're not done yet, and records are meant to be broken. And so to watch her continue to do that over and over again is very exciting. I
wonder if people really do understand. Gymnastics has obviously its core following, which has grown tremendously. And a lot of casual fans will come to the sport because, the PMAC's full and it's great energy and the team is amazing. But Ashleigh, I do wonder if people realize what they're watching, like just how special it is to watch someone like that, because they're literally watching who might be the best ever. If I asked you what makes her different, like what is the differentiator there?
That's a super good question, actually. I think definitely from an event perspective, she's very complete. She's able to post very high and dynamic scores on every single event, but because of the work that she's doing, I think sometimes in gymnastics you tend to lean maybe towards two events or one specialty event, but Haley's very complete. She's able to execute a perfect score on every single event that she does, and I think that that's what makes it more special and definitely continues to rack up her accolades. I
got one more, and then I want to switch gears and we'll talk about the event coming up this Monday. Kaya Johnson coming back is awesome. For those that don't know, she's so dynamic. She ruptured her Achilles a year ago, which is stunning to think that you could have that injury and come back from it in gymnastics, because it's such a powerful sport where obviously you need power and lower body strength. And she closed out the meet on floor on Friday night and was awesome with a perfect 10. What can you just shed some light on what it's been like for her coming back from the injury and making the impact that she is right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely don't want to speak for Kaya. I know that she's been through so much, but I think being able to know her and again get to work with her and just have a personal relationship with her, she's definitely one of the most hardest working athletes I've ever been around in my entire life. She's a perfectionist, and so she's going to come in the gym every single day and she's going to work as hard as she possibly can. And she took that same approach with her injury. Obviously, being able to contribute from an energy and an emotional standpoint as a team leader, but also when it came to rehab and when it came to just getting back to normal. She took that same hard work approach and just chipped away at it. And so just to be able to watch her take tremendous steps towards what she wanted to do, and then obviously on Friday, just having that complete full circle moment, I think it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And she's just a great person, a great leader for our team. And so just to be able to watch that happen was very special for all of us. And I know it was very special for her as well.
Team is just getting started. LSU gym scored a win this past Friday against Kentucky there at the Maravich Center. It's Missouri this week on the road. Ashleigh Gnat is with us, former LSU national champion, now an assistant coach, and you're going to be participating in this event coming up on Monday at the Maravich Center. The mental game, it's planting seeds of hope. It's all benefiting the Rain Will Bring Flowers Foundation. When you gave your first answer about Beam, Ashleigh, you said something that sort of resonated. You said you talked about like the mental process with the athletes going into that. Why is it so important for you to participate in this event?
It is. It's absolutely paramount. I feel like when they asked me to do it, I wasn't completely sure of everything that was going on behind the scenes or what the community was doing around it. And so then when I got that information, I was like, oh, this is definitely something I need to be a part of. Gymnastics in itself is such a mental sport, but it just comes with its own subset of perfectionism and things that come along with that. And so obviously working with student athletes, being a former student athlete, while there is less of a stigma, there's still a stigma around mental health that I feel very strongly needs to be broken. And I think that the more that we can talk about mental health and the more we can bring it to the forefront of people's attention, whether it's in the community or nationwide, I think it's something that we should be a part of that conversation. And I felt very strongly about it, and I feel like it's very important to me personally as well.
Ashleigh, when you were competing, did you ever go through any mental blocks or any mental health challenges that you wouldn't mind disclosing?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, like I said, I think the perfectionism is the thing that definitely strikes a chord in my mind. We talk, obviously, gymnastics is fully centered around a perfect 10, right?
Yeah.
And so you're trying to achieve at a high level every turn that you do, but it's a number that's placed on you rather than a value that you're placing on yourself. And so I think that was something that I constantly battled with, was being able to give my best performance and not be concerned about what the score was, because I knew that I was putting my best foot forward. And so it was something that I definitely had to work through time and time again. Year to year, I think as you grow and you become older and just trying to figure things out a little bit more, that you're always battling that perception. And so just wanting to, feel my own sense of self-worth rather than the worth that was placed on me by a score or routine or anything else that came along. I think that that's something that definitely resonates with me and something I experienced as a student athlete.
Yeah. The gymnastics community felt that in a big way with Simone Biles when she stepped away and she went through, as she admitted, her own mental health issues and blocks, competing. I'm curious, as a gymnast, when you saw that news or heard that news about Simone Biles, what was your reaction?
It's definitely one of those things that you don't expect to see from a gymnast because of the standard that you hold yourself to as an athlete, especially Simone. And so to watch her just take that step away from something that I cannot even imagine the amount of pressure that she was feeling in those moments and wanting to do everything that she could for the team, but just being able to take a step away and know that, it's okay to do that and take a step back and to recognize that you need to take care of yourself and put yourself before your athletic achievement, I think is huge. I think it was definitely a big moment in sports, but I think especially for gymnasts and for young girls to be able to see that you can take a step back and you can put yourself first. I think that was a big moment for us gymnasts in particular.
I love that we're having the conversation about mental health, and as you said, a lot of the stigma is being washed away, and we can have those conversations. That's going to continue on Monday at the Maravich Center. Awesome that this is going to be at the Maravich Center. Monday, the 29th, 6 p.m., Maravich Center. Ashleigh Gnat will be one of the panelists, along with Kevin Falk, Delvin Breaux, Jimmy and Robin Burrow, and our buddy Brandon Seho as well. It's all on behalf of the Reign Will Bring Flowers Foundation and the mental game as well. So if you want to continue this conversation, it'll be happening Monday at the Maravich Center at 6 o'clock. Ashleigh, it's a pleasure to visit for a couple of minutes. Thanks for the time, and we'll look forward to the event on Monday.
Of course. Thank you guys so much.
It's our pleasure. That is the one and only Ashleigh Gnat. You can follow her on Twitter at Ashleigh_Gnat. The LSU gymnastics squad, y'all, they are, they are good. That's an understatement, but they have a real shot this year. Look, I mean, it's odd that I know this much about gymnastics, but I have nieces who, when they were little, did gym, and so as a result, kind of got to know the sport a little bit, and they loved obviously LSU gymnastics. So our family was around gymnastics a lot, so we got to watch. I just learned a lot about it. And this squad with an anchor like Haley Bryant, with Kaya Johnson coming back from injury, who is incredible, talents like Leah Finnegan, KJ Johnson's from veterans, and then freshmen like Connor McClain, who had a really great meet this past week as well. They are loaded. I mean, that we talk about what's going to be the next program at LSU to win a national championship. Like, I would not be surprised at all if this LSU gymnastics squad is the one that breaks through and wins the program's first national championship. They're going to have a great chance to do it. Thanks to Ashleigh Gnat. Again, the event is coming up on Monday at the Maravich Center, 6 o'clock. If you want to continue this conversation about mental health, some great panelists right there at the Maravich Center on Monday at 6 o'clock. We look forward to having Brandon Seho with us tomorrow. We hope to have Delvin Breaux, Jimmy and Robin Burrow as well on the show as we continue this conversation promoting the event on Monday. Okay, it is After Further Review. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, with more than 30 offices across 11 different states. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. You can check them out online. You can apply online if you're looking for a new career instead of just a job. You can go to Michelli.com. That's Michelli, Michelli.com. At Michelli, they like to say, we show the world what measurement can do. They do offer ISO 17025 accreditation. If you're not sure what services they offer, just hit the services tab right there. We talk about calibration. They can calibrate darn near anything you need. Just hit that calibration tab. Pressure calibration, scale, temperature, humidity, torque. It's all right there for you at Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Okay, y'all, it's After Further Review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Sean Salisbury is going to be here in hour number 3. We'll look forward to that. We'll recap the divisional round. We'll preview the AFC, NFC championship games. And I want Sean's take on the Saints OC candidates. One guy in particular whose name we learned on Monday, and that's Gerard Johnson, the quarterback's coach with the Houston Texans. Sean's based out of Houston, knows that organization really well. So we'll get some insight from Sean Salisbury on that coming up in hour number 3. All right, it's After Further Review. Let me knock out a quick break. Come back. We'll go around the SEC. And Over the Cap has taken their stab at the compensatory pick. So if this is right, and they're usually really accurate, we'll know how many selections the Saints will have in this upcoming NFL draft that Mickey Loomis will trade away. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001. Tell you every day, look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. You see them all over town because they do amazing work. They're always on time or you don't pay a dime, and they do it at a fair price as well. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. One of the things that I love about River City's 1 Hour Air, aside from the fact that, when a technician's on the way, you're going to get a call, an email, and a text alerting you. They'll give you the name of the technician, a photo of that technician so you know who's coming to your house, and reviews of that technician from actual customers. But also, their attention to detail. What I mean is, if they ever recommend a complete system change, like to purchase a replacement system, they'll never just sell it to you. They will always call and get a second opinion before they sell you that new system. It's their commitment to you, the customer. It's River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001. Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 Black Widow trucks, $20,000 off new Ram 1500 trucks, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Happy New Year from your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next?
She thinks my tractor's sexy. It really turns her on. She's always staring at me while I'm chugging along.
After further review powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Muse, what song is that?
That's She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy by Kenny Chesney.
Oh, I've never heard it before. I like it.
No, it's a good one. I figured you might like it.
Good little beat to
Yeah.
it. Not bad at all.
Yeah.
I bet when you go to Sunshine and you open the door instead of like a door chime, I bet they play this.
That would be so awesome, actually.
Hey, Grace, you're welcome.
That'd be really good.
Rooney, you're welcome. Full ideas over here.
Anytime they let someone test drive, this is just on the radio immediately.
Oh, that's not a bad idea at all.
I like that too.
I mean, tell me you wouldn't be tapping your feet a little bit up there in that
I'm doing
combine.
it right now.
That's it right there. That's a good little ditty. I like it a lot.
It's a good song.
Mark that one, Muse. Maybe we'll come back to this at some point.
Yeah, sure.
I think maybe we could play that again at some point.
I think it works.
Somewhere down the line.
Staying
You don't want to
power.
overplay anything.
It's got staying power,
yeah,
though.
For sure. Okay. We'll go around the SEC here in just a quick second. Our friends at Over the Cap have finalized their compensatory pick projections. If you don't follow Nick Court on Twitter, you should. So Over the Cap, for what it's worth, the NFL does not reveal its compensatory pick formula. But a lot of people will try to reverse engineer it to figure out what the structure is that they use to figure out the compensatory pick formula. So Over the Cap is a website. Nick Court he basically tries to reverse engineer it to come up with all the compensatory picks. And what he has done for the Saints is he is projecting 3 picks, compensatory picks for the Saints. For those that don't know, I'll oversimplify this. If you lose free agents and don't recoup equivalent value in free agents, you can get a compensatory pick. I'm way, way, way oversimplifying that, but that's essentially what it was. So, for example, the Saints lost David Onyemata, Marcus Davenport, and Caden Ellis in free agency last year. So Nick Court is projecting the Saints are going to get 3 compensatory picks, 1 for each of those players, and he's got them all as 5th-round picks. So as it stands right now, the Saints have their first pick at number 14, a second-round pick, which is the Broncos' second-round pick, number 45. The Saints do not have their 3rd or 4th-round picks. So that's why this is really significant. They have their 5th, but then Nick Court is projecting the Saints to get 3 compensatory 5th-round picks. So the Saints would have a 1, a 2, 4 5th-round picks, 2 6th-round picks, and the 7th-round pick from the Denver Broncos. By the way, one of the 6th-round picks is one from the Eagles as a result of the trade from 2 years ago. So, in any event, a 1, a 2, 4 5th-round picks, 2 6s, and a 7 is what they're projecting for the New Orleans Saints. That is just a lot of trade bait for Mickey Loomis to go send to someone else to move up and take a punter. But if you're wondering, by the way, the picks that Nick Cord is projecting the Saints get are picks 167, 168, and 172. Last year, pick 167 was Henry To'o, the linebacker from Tennessee, Alabama via Tennessee. Herman Johnson was pick 167, former LSU All-American offensive lineman. Pick 168, the Saints took Carl Nix at pick 168. And nobody good ever really was taken at pick 172, at least not in the last 25 years or so. But the Saints did draft Mike Haas at 172. Not Mike Haas, the play-by-play man. Mike Haas, the receiver from Oregon State back in 2006, Peyton's first draft in New Orleans. So anyway, Saints projected to get 3 compensatory picks, courtesy of Nick Court over at Over the Cap. We don't find out until like a week before the league year. So we'll find out like in March with the actual formula reveals. But he's usually really, really, really accurate. So we'll find out. Okay, we'll go around the SEC in a second. We're brought to you by HUDCO Roofing, HUDCORoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. That's us, HUDCO Roofing and HUDCORoofing.com. 2 things. Remember, it rained again last night and this morning. Every time it rains, never fails. No matter how many times I can tell you, hey, call us over at HUDCO. Let us come give you a free no-obligation roofing inspection. There's only 2 ways to find out if you got roof damage. Let us come do an inspection, or wait till it rains, you got water in your house, and then you know you got roof damage. So a lot of times when it rains, our phones ring. So if you got roof damage, we'd love to help you out. HUDCO Roofing, HUDCORoofing.com. HUDCO services the entire state of Louisiana. So no matter where you are in Louisiana, we will come to you. HUDCO Roofing, HUDCORoofing.com. Also, commercial jobs, commercial. If it's new construction, we can help you. If you need a commercial roof repair or replacement, we can help. HUDCO has a silicone coating product, I tell you about it all the time, whereby it's about half the cost of a roof replacement and comes with a 20-year warranty. Think about it. If you're in a commercial building, are you going to be in that building for another 20 years? Or what if you could put off messing with the roof for 20 years? We can help. Call us today at HUDCO Roofing. In Baton Rouge, 364-1007, 364-1007, anywhere in the state of Louisiana, or at HUDCORoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. HUDCO Roofing, HUDCORoofing.com. Okay, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference.
Texas A&M! With Ross Bjork headed to Ohio State, Texas A&M has named R.C. Slocum interim athletics director. Slocum will run the athletics department until a permanent AD hire is made. News announced on earlier this week. R.C. Slocum, of course, was the head football coach from 1989 to 2002.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
I had another A&M one, my bad. Do the A&M.
Texas A&M!
That's my bad. I crumpled it up. Texas A&M added to their 2024 class 3-star offensive tackle Robert Borden flipped from Duke to Texas A&M. Borden committed to Duke back in June. Mike Elko, of course, left Duke for A&M. So the number 558 player nationally, 6'7", 305. He's headed to A&M.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Vandy moving on from one of the members of their coaching staff. They fired Jaden Everett as running backs coach. Robbie Weinstein reported the news out of Nashville, there for the staff of Clark Lee. Everett spent 1 season in Nashville. He's been at several other programs over the past decade: Indiana State, Central Michigan, Accra, Tulsa, and others since 2013.
The Florida Gators.
Defensive end Titus Bullard, the son of WWE ambassador and former Florida defensive lineman Thaddeus Bullard, better known as Titus O'Neil, has committed to the Gators. Muse, you know who Titus O'Neil is?
I didn't know who Titus O'Neil is, yes.
Well, did you know Titus O'Neil's real name is Thaddeus Bullard?
I didn't, but I did know he played at Florida.
Well, Thaddeus Bullard played at Florida, and now his son Titus Bullard is going to Florida. Preferred walk-on. He had G5 offers, was like, nah. Yeah.
Legacy, yeah. I get it, man.
Going to play where my dad played. 6'3", 215, edge rusher.
Good size.
Yeah.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
I don't know Titus O'Neil. Oh, man. They're mourning in Athens.
Don't do this.
Don't do what?
Oh, don't go there. Just
Uga died.
I know.
Uga the 10th.
He did, but easy.
He was 10 years old. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's just, I mean, there's a line.
I know you're worried.
Yeah.
I've got one SEC fan base
You
already
do?
pissed at me.
Do
You don't
really
want me to get another one?
Yeah, I mean.
Why stop now?
Well, I mean, there's other ways, Matt. There's other ways.
I love dogs.
So do I.
I had 2 boxers. Eric had Turkey the Maltese. Lived to be the ripe old age of 17. Turkey was 17.
Dude, they can go.
I know.
The small dogs.
I love dogs. I'm very sad to see Uga go.
Uga 10.
Uga 10. Whose name was Q.
Like the letter?
Q-U-E.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Winningest mascot in the history of Georgia football. 8-season tenure. Georgia was 91-18 and won 2 natties. Not a babe. As a matter of fact, he retired after the 02 season when they won the natty. And then what happened this year?
That's true. They didn't. Yeah.
Didn't win the natty. Oh, this is also the same Uga that got into the little spat with Bebo.
I remember that at the Sugar Bowl. Yeah,
Yep.
I remember that.
Same Uga. Rip.
To a good boy.
Good boy. He'd stand on his little bags of ice and drool and stuff. That was appropriate, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
Would you think I was going to make dead dog jokes?
I mean, look, the death of a pet is tough, man.
I know.
It's
I've
tough.
lived through it.
Yeah. So it's just I just wanted to.
Not like those classless Florida Gator fans. Remember back in 2017 when they had the tiger skeleton when they were mocking the death of Mike?
Yeah.
Bleep those a-holes. You think I would do that?
I hoped not.
No, I'm just laughing at Alabama fans.
Okay. Well, we can all
endlessly
we
laughing
can all
at
do that.
Alabama. It is so good, Timothy. But rip to Uga and to Q. Respect. Pouring out for the good boy. A good-looking mascot, man. It's a good-looking mascot. That sucks, man. I remember when Mike the Fifth died. That was a sad day, man. It was a really sad day when Mike the Fifth died. Because I remember that was like the first LSU Tiger mascot that I remember. That they got him in 1989, and they had a whole thing at the PMAC where you could go. He was just a Tiger Cub, and you could like play with him and take pictures and stuff. I remember doing that as a kid back in '89. I mean, that's so when he died, it was a long tenured mascot. I was a little emotional. It got a little dusty.
Good tenure too, man.
I think he died in 07. I think Mike the Fifth, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he did.
I think Mike the Fifth died in 07. I think I remember this. It's one of those weird things where I remember where I was when. Like I was booking a trip. 07?
07.
Was it fall of 07?
I'm looking right now. I remember it being the spring because they had Mike 6 for football season and they won the national championship. Died May 18th, 2007.
Rip to Mike V.
Mike V,
and to Uga X. Q, as it were. Okay. We're going to knock out a break. When we come back, have you heard who the big money donor is to the Ohio State Collective? The plot thickens. The plot thickens. We'll talk about it next.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel. 2 amazing hotel properties in Baton Rouge, the Watermark downtown, the Renaissance on Southtown. Hey, I always encourage you, of course, we tell you every day, if you're looking to host an event, there's just nowhere better in Baton Rouge. The Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown right there in Bluebonnet. The Renaissance has thousands of square foot of meeting space where they can host as few as 12 people in one of their classy boardrooms, up to 500 people in their grand ballroom. It's the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel in Baton Rouge. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Now, if you're looking for a place to stay, downtown, the Watermark is exquisite. It is literally Baton Rouge's premier hotel property. You got to go check it out. They've maintained so much of the all of the fine architectural integrity of the original building there, downtown Baton Rouge. Exquisite views of the river. You got to check it out. It's the Watermark Hotel.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206.
My tractor sexy, it really turns her on.
After further review powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1. Is that the same one you just played?
Different song.
They sound alike.
They do. They're similar. Yeah.
Well, I like this one too.
This one's Kenny Chesney as well. Yeah.
Oh, that's why. It sounded
There
similar.
you go. Yeah.
Some people say all country music sounds the same.
I disagree with that.
I don't have an opinion on it.
In most instances.
Okay. All right. It's after further review. We are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. SunnyQuip.com. SunnyQuip.com. One of the things that people ask often is, all right, well, you got all these millionaire athletes from schools that go on to have great success, this and that. And why don't they ever give back to their school? Well, one is doing that. C.J. Stroud, the quarterback of the Texans, the number 2 overall pick, who most likely going to be Rookie of the Year this season. I guess Puka Nacua. Am I saying it? Puka Nacua?
Yeah,
there's just some hard, sharp consonants there. Puka Nacua. I just make sure
Nacua.
Right. He may, anyway, C.J. Stroud became a platinum donor of the Foundation, the official Founders Club. That's the Ohio State collective that Cardale Jones started, by the way. So shout out to Cardale for getting it going for all the former Bucks.
I'm about to say, you want former players. I mean, this guy's establishing a collective.
I mean, that guy right there won a natty. Won the last natty for that school back in 2014.
12 gauge.
And I sat here and yelled, fail for Cardale.
You weren't the only one.
Sure thought he would have done better in the NFL, man. God, I thought he would have done better in the NFL. Maybe that was really more about some freak show receivers and Ezekiel Elliott running for 300 yards a game.
One of the great quotes of all time, too. We didn't come to play school.
And then he went back and got his degree. So good for him.
You love to see it.
So anyway, CJ Stroud has become a platinum donor, and platinum donors are those that pledge $50,000 to $100,000. Not break the bank money, obviously, for someone like CJ Stroud, but still, you're giving between $50,000 and $100,000 to your collective, and probably because of the attention it's going to get, is going to inspire others to do the same. For I don't know if you noticed, but Ohio State certainly has had a pretty nice portal class here. Julian Sayin, 5-star quarterback. Caleb Downs, number 1 safety in the portal. Quinshon Judkins, number 1 running back in the portal. Oh, by the way, they've also gotten some dudes to eschew the NFL draft. Denzel Burke was like a likely first-round cornerback. He's going back to school. Travion Henderson, the running back's going back to school, and he'll partner with Quinshon Judkins. It's pretty clear. There is nothing, and I mean nothing, that motivates Ohio State more than Michigan winning. I mean, it took 25 years for Michigan to hoist that trophy again, but as soon as they did, Ohio State was like, oh, hell nah. Like, you can beat us, but you ain't winning the Natty. You win the Natty, we got everybody circling the wagons and throwing money at this thing. $13 million on that roster. By the way, that's what Texas spent this year. You think they regret it? You think they regret that dollar spend? Let's see. All right, after further review, hour 2 next.
AFR.
As we put a button here on the first hour, let me remind you about Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, and indoor shutters. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Listen, I tell you all the time about their exceptional products, and they have them. Lifetime warranty on wood windows. Like, where is that even possible? Relief Windows. But more than anything with Relief Windows, it's always about the service. You know the old adage, you pay for what you get, or you get what you pay for, excuse me. You get what you pay for. Well, it's true. One thing you've never, ever, ever heard me talk about with Relief Windows ever is price. And I never will, because they're not going to be the cheapest. But you want a reputable contractor who will never take a dollar from you until the work's done and you're thrilled, who, if there is anything wrong whatsoever, they will bend over backwards to make it right. That's Relief Windows. That's why I'm thrilled always to endorse Brandon and Adrian Holly and Relief Windows. ReliefWindows.com.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Happy New Year from your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next level? Get the boat of your dreams, and that's where Front to Back comes into play. You want that spot lock trolling motor that's going to keep you right there on the water where you need to be. How about some forward-facing sonar that actually shows you the fish before you even cast? Custom stereo jobs, all of it. Sherman family's been doing it for 38 years. Go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Bucks have fired coach Adrian Griffin. They're 30-13, second in the East, his first season in Milwaukee, but have been plagued by defensive issues. With the Bucks on a tight timetable, they had to make this move now, says ESPN NBA senior writer Zach Lowe.
This team's got to win right now, and they're winning, but you know it when you see it. They've been winning, but not in the manner that suggests they can win 3 playoff series to get out of the East, when 2 of them are going to have to come against probably Philly and Boston. So whoever gets this job, there's a great team in here somewhere, and they've got to find it immediately.
Milwaukee's planning to quickly pursue a small pool of accomplished and available head coaches. Doc Rivers, a top target, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. Woj also reports the Hornets are trading Terry Rozier to the Heat for Kyle Lowry and a projected 2027 first-round pick. Miami getting a gifted score guard with Rozier. NBA suspended Cavaliers center Tristan Thompson 25 games after testing positive for 2 banned substances. NFL, the Raiders working to hire former Chargers GM Tom Telesco as their new general manager.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Wednesday. I'll tell you if the Super Bowl is the Ravens to lose. It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Sean Salsbury, 1 hour from right now. A ton to do and glad to have you hanging out. Always pleased on Tuesdays, we get a few minutes with our buddy Shay Dixon from On 3, the Bengal Tigers. Shay, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you, Matt?
Doing great. We appreciate a couple of minutes. I think this is probably the worst kept secret in town. Joe Sloan, Cortez Hankton promoted to co-offensive coordinators. It's kind of what everybody was waiting on the inevitability, but it's being reported widely today. Shay, what has been the reaction in the recruiting world to the Sloan Hankton promotion?
I think you probably start with exactly what a promotion is. Someone who's already on staff. So what have they done so far? And these guys have both been here since Brian Kelly first got here. They were those original hire groups on offense. And you look at, I think, towards the future, granted, what all these guys have, especially offense, they've signed everybody now, and you're moving towards not just high school additions and portal additions this offseason that they've gotten, but now towards the future. And it doesn't get any bigger. I mean, Cortez Hankton has a commitment from a 5-star and the number 1 overall receiver in DeCorian Moore coming out of Duncanville in Texas. And then obviously here recently, earlier this month, Joe Sloan lands a commitment from Bryce Underwood, the 5-star plus quarterback out of Michigan, who, if he signs with LSU, will go down alongside Fournette as the highest-rated player LSU's ever signed in the program's modern history of recruiting rankings and all that the past 20-plus years. So it doesn't get any bigger than that. I was of the opinion that, and I think that you see it too, Matt, with the decisions of how it's played out, Brian Kelly, for better or worse, cleaned house on defense. All 5 of them, everyone who was a defensive staff member got replaced by somebody else. If you want some sort of continuity, yes, you had an offensive coordinator position open, but you had the number 1 offense in college football, and Kelly's on the headset. Sloan and Hankton worked on staff. We got to see it in the Wisconsin game. So this was almost like, okay, we know we aren't going to have the number 1 overall offense again. It's unlikely because Jaden Daniels was a big part of that, but you can take only a few steps back or however many and still be one of the best offenses in the country and utilizing all your weapons. And I think that spoke to why these two made sense. And you're not bringing in a new playbook. No one has to learn anything new in that regard. And for the recruits, like a DeCorey Moore, like others who are looking at LSU or on the offensive side of the ball, they see it and say, okay, all the coaches that I've known the whole time I've been recruited while LSU had this number one offense are still there. So I think you'll see that Bryce Underwood and DeCorey and Moore are two guys who don't talk a lot publicly now that they're committed, but from talking to folks behind the scenes and people in their camps, this is the direction they hope that they would go with it.
Well, they have a great opportunity as well to finish this class strong. I know Terry Bussey was on campus, Shay. Any idea how that visit went?
Yeah, he'll be on campus next week. That's when he's
Okay, my
coming
apologies. So he's next week. Okay,
Yeah.
So what's the latest there then with Bussey?
So it's LSU, Georgia, trying to pry him away from A&M. And at one point it was LSU, Bama. Travaris Robinson was the person recruiting him at Bama. He's moved over to Georgia, so now Georgia kind of moved up on his list a bit. But he will get a chance this week to meet in home with the staff. Brian Kelly will be over there. They already have used their official visit, though, so you don't get two of those. So A&M's going to have him in for a visit the final weekend before signing day. He'll be here midweek next week, and this weekend he'll be at Georgia. So he's going to knock out all three schools, kind of in a hurry here. But we're talking about a guy out of Timpson in Texas, a 5-star, really the only 5-star left out there that has nothing to do with the portal or reclassifying or anything. I mean, he's been a member of this 2024 class. He's a senior, and he didn't sign early because he said, look, all these in December, coaching changes galore were happening at A&M, let alone what happened at Alabama, and obviously for him, Travaris Robinson moving on, and then LSU here, shaking up everything on defense. So it's a chance for the new staff to get to know him, see if they can make any final pitches to a kid who has been committed to A&M since September. I mean, think about this, Matt. LSU's already flipped 4 Texas A&M commitments in this class, and all very good ones, like highly rated guys. Flipping Bussey would mean flipping 5 of them, so they're taking full advantage of Jimbo and the whole transition period there and his departure. But this is certainly a guy who I think most viewed as the guy who's strongest or most firm in his commitment to A&M. Everyone always thought he was going to end up at A&M. He's never decommitted, never flipped anywhere else yet. So can someone pull him away? Georgia, LSU here in the final 2 weeks? Sure, maybe. I just think this will be the toughest one yet. Just because of his background with A&M and how long everybody has just presumed that's where he's going to go play college football.
Shay Dixon's with us on Twitter at Shay Dixon. It's a good follow-up, Shay. We talked about the offensive staff changes. What have been the reaction on the recruiting trail to the defensive staff changes, which, I mean, like we knew Blake Baker, Bo Davis, but the rest of them now have been added here just in the last week?
Right. A lot of people, recruits, are going to obviously get to know guys like Kevin Peoples, and then who's a highly regarded recruiter coming down with Baker from Missouri, and the same with Jake Olson, a guy who's moving on to the field for this job after serving in an analyst role previously. But he's had coaching stops at 4 colleges in Louisiana, so including LSU. So he'll come in and hit the ground running. Obviously, a Corey Raymond carries a lot of weight. I mean, these kids know who that is. They know who he coached in terms of DBs that came through here. So I think the response from the current team all appear to be positive. I mean, I saw all of them taking to social media about it. But then talking to a lot of the recruits that they're after, Jabari Antoine, I think, would be a good person to give an example of. He is the number 3 corner in the country. He's going to be a senior next year. He's a Louisiana kid, and he's the highest-ranked Louisiana DB that's out there. Obviously, as the number 3 corner in the country, that puts you firmly into that conversation. So LSU fans hear that. They say, okay, that's a must-get, right? Like the defensive backfield needs those kind of guys again to come through and get developed. Well, he's a New Iberia kid. He's from Westgate, and Corey Raymond is a New Iberia native. So it doesn't get any bigger than that. And for Antoine, he said, look, I grew up knowing who Corey Raymond was and hearing about what LSU's defensive backs, how they went from high school players here in Louisiana to going on to become NFL draft picks. And it's going to be a battle between LSU and Texas. I think, though, that LSU being able to get Raymond in that spot, him being a cornerback, and then really putting together the seasons that they've had, a number 1 recruiting class for next year, which is the part, or I guess the group that Antoine would be a part of. So I think that's a good example, at least, of what a Corey Raymond can do for you. The guys in Louisiana, the guys in Texas, Florida, considering, and plus he was just there. they know who he is, and that's a household name for defensive backs who have an LSU offer. So I do think that's one where, much like bringing back Frank Wilson, much like bringing back Bo Davis, that it makes such a splash hire.
Two more things for you, Shay. Number one, I know they got a junior day this weekend. That's the first of several. Can you give us sort of like a thumbnail preview for this event this weekend?
Yeah, so this will be the first one that they have. They'll have guys in February and then again in March, which when they begin spring practices, that's when Brian Kelly really likes to have guys there and the staff. So recruits and their families can come watch a practice and sit in on, a team room or a film study and just get kind of more of a grip of how they operate. But this one kicks off. Every kind of college is doing one during the month of January. This weekend is LSU's, and it's pretty much all of the underclassmen that you would consider high on the radar, guys in Louisiana that you're looking at for an offer. But Harlan Berry, the number one running back who's committed, now will be there. Keelan Moses, who many times I've called sort of the cornerstone piece of this class, the guy that's going to help recruit everybody out of U-High, or Moses coming out of U-High. Mm-hmm. He'll be there. Lamar Brown, U-High's other top prospect for 2026, will be there. A number of Texas kids are coming in, as well as some kids out of Georgia. In fact, Braden Jacobs, who's Brandon Jacobs' son, Louisiana native Brandon Jacobs. His son did not decide to play running back at that size. He is a offensive tackle and a very good one. So top 15 player in the country at the offensive tackle position for next year. He'll be in town. So I would look for, I had posted 15, 20 names today. I bet they have 25, 30, 35 guys in. And again, a mix of Louisiana guys, current commitments, and then some players thereafter. And I will note now, just because I talked about Lamar Brown, another guy will be there this weekend, Blaine Bradford out of, somewhere in Baton Rouge, one of those private Catholic schools. Yeah.
Get ready, bro. Get ready, Shay. They're going to get him, right? They got to. They got to, yeah?
We'll say everybody in this goes to what I was saying. Everybody in the country wants these guys. So last week, LSU fans didn't care about this, but Juju Lewis reclassified a USC quarterback commit from 2026 into 2025. Well, that's the class. LSU has Bryce Underwood. Mm-hmm. No big deal. Well, moving him off the list puts Jakeem Stewart, defensive tackle out of St. August, the number one player in the country.
Oh, wow.
Puts Blaine Bradford out of Catholic, the number one safety, as the number 4 player in the country. And then Lamar Brown, the number one offensive lineman in the country, is number 5 on that list. So of these guys are about to be done with their sophomore years, so the next year will be their junior seasons. 3 of the top 5 are from Louisiana, 2 from right here in Baton Rouge.
So what you're telling me is there's a reason Brian Kelly left frigid South Bend for the fertile recruiting ground of Baton Rouge.
Yes. Well, now we're dealing with, I don't know what Jim Harbaugh is going to do with his life, but obviously people have talked about what Kelly would mean as a replacement. I'm curious. I'll just ask you, are teams, and I think they're going to promote Sharon Moore, but regardless, if you're in that position, do teams now look at something that's never happened, but what happened at Bama, and say, we've got someone to promote from within, or someone with ties all over the staff that can keep everyone? That's better than bringing in somebody that knows none of our players, right?
It's a fascinating test case, and I also think, Shay, that Bama is completely unprecedented because it's Nick, right? We're seeing what the gravitational force of just his presence was.
No doubt.
And every school that loses a coach has defections to the portal, but not every school has a roster like Bama. So you see Caleb Downs and Julian Sain and all these guys hit Caden Proctor hit the portal. But I tend to agree with you. I think Sharon Moore would likely be the guy there as well. I mentioned this, Shay. Michigan promoted Lloyd Carr back in the day, and before that they promoted Gary Moeller after Bo Schembechler retired. Being a Michigan man means a lot to that school, so I would tend to agree with you. I think Moore would probably be the guy if Jim Harbaugh leaves, but that's another convo for another day if it plays out. He's Shay Dixon, at Shay Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. You're the best. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. See you next week.
All right, man. Be well. That is Shay Dixon. This is After Further Review. We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, where if you're thinking about buying land, your first call, your first option, the place that's been first for agriculture in Louisiana for 100 years should be First South Farm Credit. That's firstsouthland.com. It's a website, firstsouthland.com. Remember, at First South Farm Credit, maybe you want 20 acres in St. Francisville to build your dream home. Or maybe you want 200 acres of hunting property in Mississippi. First South Farm Credit. Yes, they can finance outside of Louisiana as well. They can finance anywhere in the entire contiguous 48. So you want someone local who talks like you and me? First South Farm Credit. That's firstsouthland.com. firstsouthland.com. Appreciate Shay Dixon for a couple of minutes with us. Sean Salsbury will be here in about 45 minutes. Bottom of this hour, Mel Kiper's got his first mock draft out, and boy, does he have an interesting name to the Saints at 14. Hint, hint, LSU fans might be interested as well. We'll get to that bottom of this hour. Speaking of the Saints, Gnats are set to interview 2 more offensive coordinator candidates, both on the San Francisco staff. We'll tell you about them next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Action Industries. You know where to find them. Action, INDINC.com, as in Action Industries Incorporated. They've been around since 1982. 2 offices, Highway 30 in Geismar, and then in Belrose. Awesome people, man. They are ASME certified, servicing the petrochemical and refinery markets for nearly 42 years now. If you're a maintenance manager, if you're a turnaround coordinator, you need to talk to Action Industries. Their facility is here. They're from the area. They hire local talent through all levels of their operation and their organization. And the differentiator with Action Industries, there's some enormous contractors that do great work. But if you have a 100-man job, are you really getting that enormous company's full attention? Well, if you hire Action Industries, you are their number one priority. It's Action Industries. Check them out online at INDINC.com for Action Industries.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 Black Widow trucks, $20,000 off new Ram 1500 trucks, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 9.
My tractor sexy, it really turns her on. She's always staring at me.
After further review powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Got some breaking news here, Muse. Breaking news. Our friends over at Sunshine are inquiring. They are going to make the door chime. She thinks my tractor's sexy. Crank it up there, Muse.
Tractor sexy. Well,
You walk into any one of their 17 locations that are hearing ding dong, you're going to hear this. Oh, I don't know if I've heard that part before. Oh, look, Matt. Amuse. Break. I almost called you Matt. I don't think I've ever called you Matt.
That's weird. Don't do that.
Have I ever called you Matt?
Probably a long time ago.
If anything, I would say Matthew.
No, don't do that either.
Matthew Musa.
Mm-mm.
Only if I go full name. Matthew Gerard Musa.
That is not my middle name.
Matthew Clark Musa.
That is not my middle name.
Matthew
Although
Moscona Musa.
I appreciate that, Clark. No, also not my middle name.
I know. It's Matthew Paul.
It is.
I know. I know the answer. Okay, let's get going here. We do have a lot to get, and shout out to our folks at our friends over at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We have a lot of fun on Tuesdays. Love talking about Sunshine. Amazing people. By the way, you might just see some Sunshine stuff around the box this year. We'll see. Maybe we'll see. All right, it's after further review. We'll get to the Mel Kiper mock draft bottom of this hour. Yes, give me about 10 minutes. We'll get to that. We've been following the Saints' search for a new offensive coordinator, and the list keeps growing. And as the list of candidates, as these names continue to drop, grows, there is very clearly a direction that the New Orleans Saints are going with all of their targets right now. Some people have asked, hey, is this just the New Orleans Saints throwing out a smokescreen ultimately to hire John Gruden? I don't think so, but I'll get to that. Nick Underhill earlier today reported that both Brian Griese and Clint Kubiak have interviewed for the Saints OC job. Kubiak is the 49ers passing game coordinator. Griese is the quarterback's coach. And if you're not familiar, yes, that is the Brian Griese who played in the NFL and then spent a decade as a broadcaster. A couple of years ago, he left the broadcast booth, joined Kyle Shanahan's staff there in San Francisco, where he's been the quarterback's coach for the last 2 years. So it's that Brian Griese. Back to the question, remember, if this is a smokescreen, if the New Orleans Saints are just throwing out all these names and interviewing these candidates as a smokescreen, that's a hell of a lot of wasted resources for something that's completely unnecessary. If the guy you want to hire is John Gruden and he's unemployed and you can just go hire him, remember, the Rooney Rule only applies to head coaching positions and senior football operations jobs. So you don't have to interview a minority candidate for the offensive coordinator job if you don't want to. If there's a guy you want, hire him. So or a woman you want, hire him. So I don't believe it's a smokescreen. I believe the Saints are showing you the path that they want to take here. Look at the list of candidates that they've interviewed. So now Brian Griese with the 49ers is on the list, and Clint Kubiak with the 49ers is on the list. We told you yesterday about Gerard Johnson, who's the Houston Texans quarterbacks coach, previously had been on staff with the 49ers. Zach Robinson is with the Rams in the McVay tree. Shane Waldron previously had been with McVay in Washington and the Rams before going to Seattle. Now, he's been hired by the Bears, but that's the guy they interviewed. The only other two exceptions are Dan Pitcher from the Bengals and Ronald Curry, who's a current Saints assistant. So Greasy, Kubiak, Johnson, Robinson, Pitcher, Waldron, Curry. 7 known candidates. 7 known candidates. 5 of the 7 are tied to either San Francisco or the Rams, tied to either Shanahan or McVay. 5 of the 7. And one of the others is your in-house candidate. So really, 5 of the 6 external candidates all are either tied to Shanahan or McVay. That's the direction they're looking to go. I would be stunned if they went any other direction than one of those guys. Really, what I'll keep coming back to is how desirable is the Saints job? And I don't know the answer to that. Yes, it's an NFL coordinator position, and there are going to be it's why these guys are interviewing for it. It's an NFL coordinator position. And the opportunity to be a coordinator in the NFL is another step for all these guys that are quarterbacks, coaches, or passing game coordinators to run their offense to then stair step toward being a head coach. But look at the commonalities. I mean, Greasy's 48, and Waldron, who's now been hired by the Bears, is 44. But Kubiak's 36. Draw Johnson's 35. Zach Robinson's 37. Dan Pitcher's 37. Ronald Curry's 44, but again, that's your in-house candidate. But you're looking at candidates that are all the same guy. They're all the same guy. It's the 30-something from the McVay-Shanahan tree. Passing game coordinator, quarterbacks coach. It's just who has been a sponge and sopped up the knowledge of that offense that New Orleans can bring in and say, bring that here. Went through these numbers yesterday, man. Look at the top offenses in the NFL. 7 of the 10 are all have connections to the Shanahan or McVay trees. The exceptions are, Monken in Baltimore, Andy Reid, and Mike McCarthy. That's it. That's your exceptions. Everybody else is on this tree. So I get, if you're New Orleans, why you're looking that way, and that's what I want them to do. So I'll keep coming back to it because people ask me, Matt, who do you want? I don't know. Because we don't have a great illustration of any of what these guys have done. The one who we know the most about is Clint Kubiak. Because Kubiak took over for his dad, at Gary, as the Vikings offensive coordinator in 2021. So he was the Vikings OC for 2021 and spent 2022 in Denver as the Broncos quarterbacks coach, and now he's in San Francisco. So Kubiak might be the guy that we know the most about. He's been an NFL offensive coordinator. He's called plays at this level. So maybe that's the guy who we know the most about, but I'll keep going back to it as well. How desirable is New Orleans? Yes, it's an NFL OC job, but if you're an in-demand candidate and you have your pick of a handful of jobs, where does New Orleans rank on that list? Where you're looking at a coach that very well could be in his final season, and you're also talking about a quarterback in Derek Carr, who is a veteran quarterback, but I believe, as do many others, that we've seen what Derek Carr's ceiling is as an NFL quarterback. I think it's very clear that's why Shane Waldron took the Chicago job, because you're either going to have Justin Fields or Caleb Williams as the number 1 pick in the draft. You get to go coach the number 1 overall pick. That's a more desirable situation than coming to New Orleans with Dennis Allen and Derek Carr. So that's what I can't answer. How desirable is New Orleans with respect to the other vacancies, and which of these candidates comes to New Orleans and just wows the organization to where you say, that's the guy I want to modernize my offense, to bring my offense into the new era of football. Listen, it's not that dissimilar from what's happening right now in the NFL is not that dissimilar from what happened for a decade where teams just try to pillage New England. From Charlie Weiss and Romeo Crennel and Josh McDaniel and Matt Patricia and Bill O'Brien, Eric Mangini. I mean, go down the list of all those guys that were coordinators or staff members in New England that got head coaching jobs because they worked with the Patriots and Bill Belichick. And people were trying to get little pieces of that. Can we take that seed, plant it here, and recreate it and sprout it? Not many had success doing it. But offensively, you are seeing guys like Kevin O'Connell, like Mike McDaniel, go to different spots and have offensive success. So it stands to reason if you're a general manager or a head coach trying to hire or an offensive coordinator, why would you look anywhere other than that tree right now for an OC? So we'll see what direction they go. But the two newest names are two San Francisco assistants, Clint Kubiak and Brian Griese. Kubiak's 36, Griese's 48. As we mentioned, Griese had a long NFL career, where he played for the Broncos and the Dolphins, the Bucks, finished his career with the Bears. So and then went into broadcasting for a decade. Now the last 2 years has been in coaching. So two new names, Brian Griese and Clint Kubiak, added to the list of potential Saints offensive coordinators. We'll see how quickly they move to find Pete Carmichael Jr.'s replacement. Okay, y'all, it's After Further Review, brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. I mentioned certified pre-owned every day because a lot of people are looking to buy a used vehicle. They don't want to buy a new vehicle. Great. Shop the used car lots for sure, but also shop South Point Volkswagen. Because when you go to South Point Volkswagen, go to the website, you'll see new and used at the top. Hit the used tab. My buddy Kerry Manuel over there, who's the certified pre-owned manager at South Point Volkswagen, will do a great job to get you in whatever vehicle you want. Tons of different makes and models, not just Volkswagens. Of course, they have plenty of pre-owned Volkswagens, but all different makes and models. So check it out at southpointvw.com. Go to the website, hit the used tab at the top, and you'll see their full list of inventory. And remember, you're not just going to see stock factory photos. You'll see pictures of the actual vehicle that's there on the lot at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland, or online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? Okay, y'all, it's After Further Review, and we're glad to have you aboard with us here. Sean Salisbury in 30 minutes will preview the conference championship weekend. I'll get Sean's take as well on the Saints' search for an OC, what he thinks about these guys that the Saints have interviewed, and just how desirable this job is. We'll talk about that with Sean Salisbury in about 30 minutes from right now. Let me knock out a quick break. Mel Kiper has his first mock draft out for this upcoming draft, and he does have the 3 LSU Tigers going in round 1 that we all expect. Where he has Jaden Daniels going might surprise you, and who he has the Saints taking at 14 will very likely thrill you, whether you're a black and gold or purple and gold supporter. We'll talk about it next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's, this feels like home. It's King Cake season, y'all. As we count down to Carnival, make sure you get by see our friends over at Rouse's and pick up your Rouse's King Cakes. And also, look, if you're going to be going out to the parade route, or you're just going to be having a carnival party at your house, Rouse's can help you feed your whole crew with party trays. If it's mini sandwiches like mini muffalettas, if it's any of their fried goodness like their meat pies, God, they're so good. Every time we go to remotes out there, they always feed us. Cheese trays, fruit trays, your dessert platters as well, jambalaya. If you want the party trays for your Mardi Gras party, feed your whole crew, for any party, remember Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints with 68 locations. Opened up the newest location in Lafayette just yesterday. It's Rouse's. Check them out online at rouses.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time to slip away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com Or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Happy New Year from your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next level? Get the boat of your dreams, and that's where Front to Back comes into play. You want that spot lock trolling motor that's going to keep you right there on the water where you need to be. How about some forward-facing sonar that actually shows you the fish before you even cast? Custom stereo jobs, all of it. Sherman.
She thinks my tractor's sexy. It really turns her on. She's always staring at me while I'm chugging along. She likes the way.
After further review powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge brings you live coverage of the 2024 Reese's Senior Bowl. Our team of T-Bob Hebert and Jacob Hester will be hosting Off the Bench live from Mobile, Alabama, Monday, January 29th through Thursday, February 2nd. Listen on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and watch us on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel.
Muse, I swear I've heard that one before. I mean, I know you rotate all the tractor songs. I feel like I heard that one.
No, yeah. Well, we said we'd come back to it in the first hour. I thought now would be a good time.
This is that same one.
This is that
Got
same
it.
song. Yeah.
What's the guy's name again?
Kenny Chesney.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the guy that's BFF with Peyton Manning and Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Yeah,
is.
right?
That's very true. He is. Big. He's from Tennessee, so that makes yeah.
Well, you know what I don't like? He's probably got an orange tractor.
No. You can't have an orange tractor.
That's the only tractor I've ever seen is a green tractor from John Deere. Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. You think he took his green tractor and painted it orange?
No.
Ball fans. It might just be crazy enough to do it, Muse.
It could be, but I don't think he would do that.
Not nearly as crazy as those Bammers, though. Oh, Muse, are they after me?
Still, huh? They lose anybody today? I didn't see.
It's just so predictable, Muse, because they get they get a few commits or some visits, and then they're all like, "Hey, Kalen DeBoer, reloading." No, he's not. Nope, he's not. Nope, he's not.
He's not.
You know what he's doing?
What's that?
He's getting a bunch of dudes from Washington.
Yeah.
Dudes that 2 weeks ago, Alabama fans would have said, "Weak Pac-12 roster.
I don't want that
you
guy.
You can't hang in the SEC."
Not good enough for Bama.
No, he ain't. Okay. Oh, man. We spent a lot of time there, didn't we? Had the promo read. I yelled about Bama. Got to get to this Mel Kiper mock draft. I guess it is so like sand through the hourglass of time. These are the days of our lives. It's a rite of passage, Muse. We're moving towards spring. Mel Kiper's got his first mock draft. Pretty fired up about it. I don't know that Mel's mock drafts are any more accurate than anybody else's mock drafts, and they're certainly going to change. But Mel's the man. He's been the draft guy for 40 years. So Mel puts out a mock draft. I want to talk about it. Curious what he does. Mel Kiper has Caleb Williams going number 1 to the Bears via the Panthers. That's obviously the Panthers pick that goes to the Bears via the trade last year, and he's got Caleb Williams going to the Bears. So what does that mean for Justin Fields? You know, one of the most commonly bandied about theories is Fields ends up with the Atlanta Falcons. Could Bill Belichick be coaching the Atlanta Falcons with Justin Fields as his starting quarterback? That'd be pretty fascinating. But not as fascinating to us anyway as who Mel Kiper has going number two overall. And that is Jaden Daniels. Mel Kiper has Jaden Daniels surpassing Drake May as the number 2 player in this draft going to the Washington Commanders. Now, Washington still has to hire a head coach, so it'll be most interesting to see who that is. But, man, it is so hard to argue against Jaden as the second best quarterback in this draft, and I think you could make a case for him as the best quarterback in this year's draft class. And yes, I admit I am impossibly biased, but I can also look at the seasons Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and Caleb Williams had this past year, and there is an undeniable truth that Jaden Daniels, athletically, is the most dynamic of the three. And the biggest elements for improvement in his game were the deep ball and his ability to read a defense, and both improved astronomically. Maybe Caleb Williams projects as a better draft prospect, maybe. But I totally understand why you would have Jaden Daniels going number 2. I could see Jaden Daniels going number 1. It seems like Caleb Williams has been locked into that top spot for a long time and is going to go there, but he could at least make it interesting. Kiper's got Drake May going 3 to the New England Patriots. Patriots need a quarterback. They'll likely go there. Marvin Harrison 4 to the Cardinals. Brock Bowers 5 to the Chargers. And then the second receiver off the board, Malik Nabers, number 6 to the New York Giants. You are seeing this mocked more and more in drafts, is Malik Nabers, number 6 to the New York Giants. One thing is pretty clear when you look at every mock draft, Malik Nabers is being mocked by everybody as a top 10 pick. And what an amazing season for Malik, and you just feel so good for that guy, a guy from Louisiana who it meant the world to him to put on for LSU and for the state of Louisiana, leaves LSU as the all-time leader in receptions and receiving yards, and is going to be a top 10 pick. So congrats to Malik Nabers. But the one that's the most interesting, and I always scroll to see, okay, well, who does he have the Saints taking? And there is a black and gold, purple and gold synergy here because Mel Kiper has the New Orleans Saints taking Brian Thomas Jr. at number 14. And there's 2 components to this. One is what a meteoric rise for Brian Thomas, who was on nobody's first-round mock draft at the start of this season, started to creep into some mock drafts as the season went along, maybe late in round 1. And now you have him as high as 14 to the New Orleans Saints. So Brian Thomas as a top half of round 1 guy makes complete sense. He's a freak show. He's 6'2", over 200 pounds, runs like a deer, has strong hands, can blow the top off a defense, can make tough catches over the middle. He's physical. He's awesome. I mean, Brian Thomas is a top half of round 1 guy. Of course that makes sense. Brian Thomas to the Saints, I love that as well. This is not, I think, going to be popular for a lot of Saints fans who I think we all intuitively say, go get defense. But I don't think the Saints are picking a quarterback. While I would love to see it, I don't think the Saints are taking a quarterback. They have too much money invested in Derek Carr next year, and they're going to try to maximize their return on that investment. So if you're going to maximize your return on Derek Carr, get him an OC and get him help. Yes, we love Chris Olave. Rashid Shaheed had an awesome year this year. What is Michael Thomas? I don't know. He is an injury-prone receiver who has not been good in 5 years. Can you get Derek Carr another weapon on the outside? You've got Alvin Kamara back. You drafted Kendre Miller. You got running backs. You could certainly use a tight end, but Brock Bowers is going to be off the board. Yes, you need help on the offensive line. Mickey Loomis told us that it looks like Ryan Ramchik's going to get good news and be back, but you still need help on the left side of your line. So if the New Orleans Saints go with an offensive lineman or a wide receiver at 14, I would be perfectly fine with that. I think the Saints defense will be plenty good enough. And look, you have tons of holes on this team. Could you use another interior defensive lineman? Yes. You could always use an edge rusher. Am I concerned about Demario Davis nearing the end of his career? Absolutely I am. Same thing with Tyrann Mathieu at safety. Are the Saints potentially going to trade Marshawn Lattimore Could you end up needing a corner? Okay. I just mentioned tight end, offensive line. There's a lot of places you need help. But if the fulcrum, if the balancing act here is how do we get this seesaw to go positive for Derek Carr, then you've got to give Derek Carr assets to help him succeed. And I'm telling you honestly, I don't think Derek Carr is going to succeed. I do not think we have seen Derek Carr. We have seen his ceiling. He is not going to be a guy that wins a playoff game in New Orleans. Could you win a bad division? Sure. I thought they would this year. I thought they'd go 10-7, lose in the wild card round. They went 9-8, missed the playoffs. But if organizationally you are committing to Derek Carr, you're committing to Dennis Allen, you're getting a new offensive coordinator, then you got to get him help. And if Brian Thomas is sitting there at 14 and they say, we're going to get that dude, I'm perfectly fine with it. Because even if it goes sideways for Carr and whoever the new OC is and Dennis Allen after this season, whoever the next guy is going to have a lot of toys in the toy chest to make that thing go. And makes you a more desirable spot because of the talent you'd have offensively, at least the skill talent. So Mel Kiper has the Saints going Brian Thomas at 14. And I'd be perfectly fine to see it. I'd be thrilled to see it if it worked out that way. All right, it's after further review. I'm going to knock out a quick break. We'll come back. Musil do Tigers and the Pros. We'll wrap up hour number 2 next.
AFR.
All right, y'all. Thursday, LSU against South Carolina. I don't know if you've noticed, but tickets on the secondary market, like the get-in price is like $500. There's like floor seats that are going for $2,000. So chances are you're not going to be in that number. But if you want to still celebrate and enjoy the day Thursday with number 10 LSU hosting number 1 South Carolina, come hang out with me at Pluckers on Nicholson, just south of campus. So come on by. We'll be in the bar area, eat some wings, drink some beers. Courtesy of our friends over at Mockler Beverage have given me a ton of the LSU Women's Basketball National Championship koozies. So we'll give tons of those out. I'll have Hudco hats. We'll have other Bud Light swag, LSU swag. So come hang out with us at Pluckers on Nicholson for the LSU South Carolina game Thursday. Tip at 7. So as soon as I get off air, I'll head over there, eat some wings, drink some beer. Let's cheer the Tigers on to victory this Thursday at Pluckers.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ford F-150 lifted trucks. $10,000 off new Ford F-150 and 3.9% financing. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The best.
It really turns her on. She's always staring at me while I'm chugging along.
After further review powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. Sean Salisbury here in about 10 minutes. Right now, Musso has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, let's start in the NBA. Just one former Tiger in action last night. That was Naz Reid, but it comes with a caveat. Cat went for 62 in that game, so the minutes were a little less, let's say, a little limited for Naz Reid. Only 15 of them, but did have 5 points in those 15 minutes and would add a steal. You know, when you're the I don't want to say the backup, but the reserve, and the guy in front of you goes for 62, you're probably not going to get out on the floor as much. Moving to the G League, Skylar Mays with the South Bay Lakers, 28 minutes in the game, 38.5% from the floor, totaled up to 13 points in the ballgame, but had 4 assists as well to round out his night, 1 for 3 from behind the arc. Let's head over to China, Chinese Basketball Association. That's where we'll find Tremont Waters. Again, try this, plays for what looks like Guangdong. They got the win.
Watch your mouth. This is a family show.
That's the name of his team, Matt.
You vulgar this and that.
That's the name of the team. I lost my spot now. Look at that. 17 minutes for Tremont.
Serves you right.
17 minutes for Tremont. 14 points on the day and added 6 assists. So a solid stat line there of 14 and 6. 5 of 8 from the field. Really, really efficient. He's tearing it up over there in the Chinese Basketball Association, trying to, or at least I assume he's trying to find his way back to the NBA. It seems that everybody's trying to do these days, but maybe he's not. Maybe he's happy over there. Anyway, team got the win. And
Stephon Marbury did that for a long time.
He did?
Stayed in China.
He did.
He built him a statue.
Yeah.
Starberry.
China, Europe, either way you want to go, you can find your way back. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gentlemen, I don't know if you've looked at the calendar, Muse. I'm so bad at math. Let's see, we got 8 days left in this month, then 14 days until Valentine's. It's 22 days, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I did the touchdown thing. It was like 14, 7 plus.
In 2-point conversion. There you go.
That's how I did it. Math. Sky code. You wouldn't understand. But gentlemen, if you're thinking about, I don't think that made sense. I was just saying words. If you're thinking about popping the question, thrill her with a beautiful diamond from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. With 10 locations, 2 in the Baton Rouge area, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport. When my friend Scott Berg goes to India every year to some of the most brilliant diamond mines in the world, he's buying for 10 stores. And because he's buying for 10 stores and has that buying power, he gets the most beautiful, exquisite diamonds at great prices that they can then pass along to you. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where you always get the Lee Michaels experience. Because it's 10 stores, if there's something they don't have in a case that you're looking for, they can get it, or they can custom make a piece of jewelry for you. They want her to be thrilled. You want to have a piece of jewelry that you'll pass on to your daughter down the line, be in your family for generations. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, real quickly here, Sean Salisbury is going to be with us after the top of the hour. 2 things. Number 1, updates on 2 of the more interesting NFL head coaching candidates out there. One is Jim Harbaugh. Mike Garafolo today on the NFL Network said Jim Harbaugh might have his landing spot out west pretty soon.
And this feels like we're now in the zone where something could happen between the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh in the near future. My understanding is that it is an extremely strong offer that they have made to him financially. They're now in the point where they're going to discuss staffing when it comes to general manager and obviously the coaching staff who's going to work alongside Harbaugh as well. So this feels like advancing to the point where if everybody's comfortable with a lot of the principal factors at play, that this team could move on Jim Harbaugh and try to get him under contract. Feels like Harbaugh is not just toying with the NFL to try to get Michigan to agree to something to jump back to college. This has felt like Harbaugh has his eyes locked on the NFL.
So, look, you win a national championship in college. One thing he hasn't done here is win a Super Bowl. Got to one with the Niners and might be headed back out to the West Coast. Again, the report there from Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network. Harbaugh and the Chargers are nearing a deal, which would then obviously turn the attention to Michigan and who might replace Harbaugh, but we'll get there. If, in fact, we need to. And then Schefter was on the Pat McAfee show, and he gave an update on Bill Belichick. Here's what he said.
We seem more enthused than the teams have so far because the only team that he's spoken to so far, to my knowledge, is the Falcons. And so, well, we wondered about Dallas. We wondered about Philly. We wondered about Buffalo. You could do that exercise for a lot of teams because he is the greatest coach of all time.
So Schefter reporting there on McAfee that the only team interested in Bill Belichick, the Atlanta Falcons. We'll see if they get a deal done. All right, hour number 3, right after SportsCenter.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pure Restoration. It's always interesting, and I tell you this every day, and I mean it sincerely. You could always do this. At pure-restoration.com. That's pure-restoration.com. I got an email today from David P., who said, Matt, what is the name of the mold abatement company that you talk about on the show? I can't seem to remember the name of the company. Thanks. You can always do that. If you find out you have mold, or odor or pathogens, you need sanitization, remediation, and you can't remember the name of the company, that's okay. Message me, email me, tweet me, DM me, whatever. Text me on my text line. I'll always send you the link. I'll let you know, put you in touch with them. It's Pure Restoration, pure-restoration.com. They were Mold Zero. They've rebranded Pure Restoration as they've expanded their menu of services. Complete demolition and build back is available as well if you need it. Pure-restoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor and other harmful pathogens. It's Pure Restoration. Online, pure-restoration.com. Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. 43 games into his first season in Milwaukee, the Bucks have fired coach Adrian Griffin. The team's 30-13, second in the NBA's Eastern Conference, but concerns with defensive issues and felt the move was needed, explains ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski.
They looked at where this team was, how it was responding under Griffin, although the second best record right now, 30-13, that they have such a tight championship window with Giannis Antetokounmpo, certainly the Damian Lillard trade, which happened after they hired Griffin as head coach. They made a decision to make the change.
The Bucks plan to quickly pursue a small pool of accomplished and available veteran head coaches. Doc Rivers at the top of that list. Heat getting a much-needed jolt, acquired gifted scoring guard Terry Rozier for Kyle Lowry and a projected 2027 first-round pick. That is according to Woj as well. Rozier's having one of his best NBA seasons. Miami's lost 3 in a row, is 6th in the East. NFL, the Raiders working to hire former Chargers general manager Tom Telesco as their new GM, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to save money. When you bundle your auto policy with home, condo, or renters, you'll earn a multi-policy discount. Easy to bundle, easy to save. Visit Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Used to. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. A ton to do. Joined now, as we are every Tuesday here in hour number 3, by our buddy Sean Salsbury on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Few better to talk about the NFL and all things football. Sean, we appreciate you, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Good to be on with you. Thank you.
Always our pleasure, man. Biggest surprise of the divisional round weekend. What was it for you?
Biggest surprise. How I guess, and we shouldn't be surprised by Mahomes, but how physical Pacheco was.
Okay.
And how the Kansas City defense is going to give more fits than we expected. I expected Kansas City to play well, and I guess that shouldn't be a big surprise. It shouldn't be. And maybe how dominant the Ravens were against the Texans, and the Texans hung in there for half. But to me, it's going into Buffalo, playing against a dynamic quarterback, and I know the defense got a taste of what it's going to be like dealing with Lamar and Josh legs and their arm and the way they throw it and move. But I know it's weird when you say Kansas City, but going on the road their first time in a hostile environment, I thought it was the best their offense played all year, because I thought their offense was a little bit off this year, like a 7 out of 10. But the Mahomes factor, it looked like the old Kansas City Chiefs. So maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but I was surprised because I did not expect that offense to play as efficient as they played in that game because of their struggles.
Sean, I'm a little surprised It makes sense to go KC, but for me, golly, the way Green Bay played against San Francisco, Sean, that was less about San Francisco winning it, I think, and more about Green Bay blowing an amazing opportunity. How vulnerable is San Francisco? I want to preview the championship games, but does that illustrate how vulnerable San Francisco is against the Lions this weekend?
Yeah, and the reason I didn't say San Francisco or the Green Bay San Francisco game is because I haven't seen Jordan Love in these situations enough. So and the Packers, I think what they did to the Cowboys. The question was, well, is it an aberration or are they real? So maybe we should have bought into the Packers. I thought it would be a pretty decent game, but out of those 4 games, when we had talked on my show, I thought that the game that had the biggest risk of a blowout after coming down from what the Green Bay did to Dallas was going to be the Packers. So maybe I should throw that in there in the NFC as well. But they had a chance. I'm not surprised the 49ers kicked it around a little bit because they've got a little bit of that in them. And not having Deebo Samuel offensively the entire game and then the 50-50 stuff this week. Yeah, and it just goes to show you that Green Bay, as a young team, and the young receivers, I think they're the youngest team in a league or close, that this will carry over, and they say, we got a special quarterback who's going to get paid. We don't need Aaron Rodgers back. Now as these young guys come together. So I wasn't overly surprised that they played well enough to hang in, but I'm not surprised that they didn't win it and they made a few mistakes simply because the youth, but it will serve them well moving forward. And I think the 49ers are vulnerable. I think Detroit Lions, I had the 49ers going to the Super Bowl in the NFC all year long since August, but Detroit's real. The energy, if you go and kick it around a little bit and they knock you around, get some 3 and outs, they can score with anybody and they can score from the parking lot. I think the 49ers have alarm for concern because I think Detroit poses some real problems for them. The question is, what offense for the 49ers will show up this week? If they both play their best game, San Francisco's winning, but Detroit's a dangerous team that probably should have been the 1 seed after what we saw in the Dallas game, which had that have worked for them, they'd be playing at home this week, and it would make a huge difference. Maybe the Lions' energy by their fans, that building, and I played in that building twice a year for years when Barry Sanders was there, so you can imagine it was loud then too, Maddie. It was almost as if they were like, oh my gosh, we want to set the record for noise. It had an effect. It did, and maybe you could throw their defense in it. They got after Baker and hit him a bunch. They're going to need that this week.
Sean, correct me if I'm wrong. You may remember this better than I do. I can remember watching a game, I think it was a playoff game at the old Silverdome, where Detroit got flagged because their crowd was being so loud that they couldn't get off plays, and Detroit got flagged for it. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, and I can't remember when it was, but it does ring a bell, which leads me to this. I've never seen, or heard, should I say, a team that was so sometimes when you're in your home thing, they're yelling during when the other team has the ball and they're excited. And then sometimes there's still a smattering of it when your own team gets the ball because, well, you're still talking, you're having a beer, you're getting into it, and it's still, and sometimes the home guys, they settle down, everybody's jacked up. I have never seen a crowd so in tune with, they got it, make it miserable, we got it, shut up. And it was as if they went from fraternity party to library, and it worked. Public library. I was in that. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised by that. Now we do it. Hell, there's 3 or 4 surprises in this, but I'm not. Detroit would love to have it at home, but I think they can travel in this. Detroit, they strike me as a team that has no fear in this game, and I think there's a lot more pressure, obviously, on the 1 seeds. But when you're the Detroit Lions, you just can't get yourself to the point where you're so worked up going on the road, because after 30 years of it, that's a lot of beat downs over the last 30 years, having people question you. And I love Dan Campbell. I think it's gonna be a hell of a game.
Who do you like, San Francisco, Detroit? Or if you don't have a pick, what do you think is the difference in that game?
I'm still mad, and I'm going to withstand because he's one, and I like him a lot, but he's an LSU guy, and Ryan Clark. I couldn't disagree more with what he talked about, what he said about Brock Purdy. I actually think it reeks of disrespect for Brock Purdy, but it's his opinion and he's allowed. I couldn't disagree more. I think the key here is can you deal with, if you're Detroit, all the multiple sets and formations you're going to get, and at every position, whether it's Ayuk, if depending on Debo's situation, McCaffrey, all the motions in front. See, they make it look like they're doing 4,000 things on their pre-snap, but it ends up being a lot of this inside zone cutback, bootleg, jet sweep, hit George Kittle on an option route. I think the multiple, what I'm concerned with, will you see free runners getting through the secondary on a wheel route because two guys jumped, Ayuk on a curl route? That does concern me when you're not used to seeing teams like this, that Shanahan will try to manipulate everything before the ball snapped. So I'm taking San Francisco. Okay. I'm not overly comfortable with it. And it's not because Purdy that I'm not overly comfortable. I think Brock Purdy should be finished second in the MVP this year. I really do. So behind Lamar Jackson. So I hold him in high regard. He's accurate. He throws the ball on time, and his statistics and winning bears out. I like the 49ers. If it was in Detroit, I'd be picking Detroit. But I can't waffle on my 49er pick at the beginning of the year. But I can tell you this, if I'm a 49er fan, if you are a fan, I'm not comfortable with this game if you're the 49ers, because Goff has something to prove, and he's playing on that, and they got great team speed. And I'm going to tell you, they better have an answer for Laporta with those two good linebackers they have as well.
Flip to AFC real quick, Sean. Baltimore, KC. You said you like Lamar to win the MVP.
You know what? I like Baltimore. Listen, I think that overall Baltimore's the better team, Matty. They just are overall. They have the two best linebackers in Queen and Roquan in the league, in my opinion. They great team speed on offense, but that defense. Great team speed on both sides, obviously in space, but I love the physicality of Baltimore's interior on both sides of the ball. They will hit you on defense. They run sideline to sideline, and on offense, talk about multiple. And it's not all the pre-snap stuff. It's inside zone fake or pull. It's like a three-dimensional now, because they beat you running downhill. Lamar can pull and beat you and run for $130. So you kind of got to be passive aggressive, and then you have to get nosy. If your front seven can't stop the run, a safety has to come down, and that's where play action kills you, because you're afraid to death of breaking contain with Lamar, broken plays. That's how on the other side for Kansas City, can they deal with that? And listen, man, I wouldn't bet the game, because I sure as hell in January and February 15, I'm not betting against him. I'm picking Baltimore because they were my pick all along. If Mahomes has the ball last and they're within a score at the end of the game, the Kansas City Chiefs are winning.
Okay. Sean Salisbury, he's on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. I want to grab a break, come back, and I want to talk about coaches. I think there's a few better people to ask about quarterbacks, coaches, OCs. As the Saints are looking for an OC, there's 7 candidates that they've talked to, and one of them is there in Houston, that the team that Sean covers day in and day out, with Gerard Johnson. So we'll get Sean's take on that when we come back. We're glad you're with us. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan, Injury Attorneys. Gordon's going to be in studio with us tomorrow. Looking forward to that. We'll talk to G about, of course, the G team and all the work that he does with NIL, but it's so much more than just that. I tell you all the time, if you've been injured in an accident, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys have been helping injured people in Louisiana for more than 30 years. So go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. If you need representation, don't go it alone. You can trust Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. And yes, we do love to tell you about the G team and all the NIL deals that Gordon's doing. Just announced the newest member of the G team today. LSU gymnast Aaliyah Finnegan is the latest member of the G team. Dara Haydad from the Tiger Girls last week after they won their national championship. My goodness, there's the list goes on and on. Jordan Wright from the men's basketball team. Gordon doing amazing work with the G team and all these NIL opportunities for student athletes. You know what to do. If you've been injured in an accident, go to getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 Black Widow trucks, $20,000 off new Ram 1500 trucks, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Happy New Year from your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next level? Get the boat of your dreams, and that's where Front to Back comes into play. You want that spot lock trolling motor that's going to keep you right there on the water where you need to be. How about some forward-facing sonar that actually shows you the fish before you even cast? Custom stereo jobs, all of it. Sherman family's been doing it for 38 years. Go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
She thinks my tractor's sexy. It really turns her on. She's always staring at me.
After further review powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Rolling along, glad to have Sean Salisbury with us every Tuesday here on AFR. Just a few better resources to tap into than Sean for his wealth of knowledge, especially when we talk about offense and the quarterback position. Sean, the Saints are looking for a new OC after they let go Pete Carmichael. That's something you and I talked about all throughout this season. They've formally now interviewed 7 candidates. I'm going to ask you some big picture stuff, but I want to zero in on one guy in particular that's there in Houston, and that's Gerard Johnson, the former Texas A&M quarterback, who's the quarterback's coach there in Houston. He's got a lot of praise for working with C.J. Stroud this year. I guess two-parter here, Sean. What can you tell us about Johnson, and how much credit does he get for the work he's done with C.J. Stroud this year?
I don't think pure quarterback coaches get enough credit out there, Matt, because in my career, I don't remember spending – and I was close with like Denny Green and Bobby Wright, close coaches, head coach I was really close to. Yeah, that's like, aside from your family, C.J. Stroud or Derek Carr, anybody will spend no more time outside of their family and rolling around the locker room than they will with their quarterback coach in meetings every day. And we always harp on the quarterback, the head coach, and you got to get a good head coach. He gets a great leadership and buy-in. But I think just as important, and maybe at times more important, is the staff that they hire. And this position's like being a good golfer. It's fragile. The mechanics, the coordinator's got a whole offense. So he's receivers and running backs and O-line putting a game plan in. The quarterback's strictly focused on quarterbacks in that room, meeting with them. They're psychologists, your husband, your wife or husband, however, whatever it is, your best friend, your hardcore tough love guy. All the time in my career in 10 years, I spent more time with a quarterback coach talking football than I did in one city in Minnesota in 3 years or 5 years or 6 years than I did the whole time, all head coaches combined. And that's not that you're removed from the head coaches, but that's where it is. So the teaching, the mechanics. I'll tell you what I know about Gerard. I've known him a long time.
Okay.
I've watched him with young quarterbacks in high school. I watched him when he broke in because I trained the quarterback at his high school where he was an assistant coach at St. Thomas High School here in Houston. I trained the quarterback that was on his that was a record breaker at his school. He's a really good player. And then he went from there and moved, the Colts and the Vikings. But he's gone through the system. I've always admired, and we've had talks, I've always admired his calm and demeanor approach to the position and the people. It never changes. He's energetic, but he's very his approach to it is calming. And I think the quarterback's time, when a coordinator's going, everybody's going haywire, I think that you can have both, but you got to know the room. And the room is C.J. Stroud's calm and relaxed. I love Gerard Johnson. Now, we don't know from position coach to offensive coordinator if he's ready for that, the play calling, but I think he is. He knows football. He's taught every age. He used to be a quarterback trainer here in Houston, then went on to coach at different spots, and he's taken every step. Assistant quarterback coach. He's not a get frustrated, lose his mind type of guy. He's a great calming influence. You could do a lot worse than hire Gerard Johnson with players, but I can tell you this: he deserves. Slowick's going to get the credit for the play calling, but nobody impacted C.J. Stroud's daily mechanics and coaching and understanding how to attack a defense more than the quarterback coach Gerard Johnson did in his room. I think it's an underrated position because we get caught up in coordinators so often, and it's a fragile position too. I love his demeanor.
So you brought up Slowick, who, of course, is from the 49ers Shanahan tree. And, Sean, when you look at the candidates that the Saints have talked to, Brian Griese, Niners, Clint Kubiak, Niners, Shane Waldron, who had been with the Niners and was with the Seahawks, Zach Robinson, Rams, Gerard Johnson, who had previously been with the Niners as well before now being in Houston. It's pretty clear what they're doing. They're looking at Shanahan-McVay tree and going, who can we get? Does that make sense to you, or do we sometimes overvalue that affiliation?
Well, I think I love the system because it's saying the guy energetic, but because it's so difficult to defend if you have good players, and you got to have good players and people who know how to teach it and coach it. But I get why, because the Rams had no business doing what they did this year, and Stafford, with Sean McVay, bam, they do their thing. Shanahan's a consistent winner. Look what Matt LaFleur's done with Jordan Love. You go around the league and everywhere with Slowick, with Stroud, it went from like the Bill Walsh stuff to the Bill Belichick, some success, some not much in Bill's assistant coaches, to right. Andy Reid, and now we're down to the Shanahan, this whole tree. And in truth, Andy came from West Coast offense back in the day with Shanahan, that the Andy Reid originally as well, and when he went to Philly. So I get it. We're a copycat league. When you play 3-4 and dominate, everybody wants 3-4. When you play 4-3 and dominate, we all want to play a 4-3. It's personnel. Now, I could tell you some quarterbacks wouldn't be, the verbiage and all that goes with it may be too much to handle. But all the pre-snap stuff, it's so confusing. But you got to be smart and patient, take your shots. But you have got to be accurate and efficient as a player. So I like it. All those guys from and you know what you're getting with Kubiak's guy and Brian Griese, who's done a fantastic job in San Francisco. All the names that I don't have to bring up are running this same stuff with adding a little bit of their stuff to it. And what Slowick did here, as a guy who has never been a coordinator, it looked like he's been doing it for 6-8 years because he had a guy that fit it. It's all fun and games when the quarterback can operate. It's awesome. But when you got a quarterback who's not accurate or who's injured all the time, then it becomes a little bit more difficult. But I swear by the system mixed in with some other stuff, and I get why those coaches are going to continue. Zach Taylor was in, yes. Look at Zach Taylor, and now look at, Canales has been in Seattle before. There's somewhere the affiliation with a lot of these different guys. They've run into some sort of the system, even though a lot of systems now are multiple with a bunch of different stuff. I see why they're doing it, and I think it is a good thing because the system breeds success if you have a guy that can operate it and run it and a coach that loves teaching it, and you got to buy in by the team, and it's easy to get buy-in. One thing they love to do, you got to run the football, and you got to be, and your guys you got to be a patient runner, and they'll teach that regularly. I love the system, and I think you could go wrong with a lot of other guys, and you can go right with a lot of this group. You're not going to go wrong, and a lot of them, they'll be talking on the phone, 8 of them, and 3 of them are going to go get jobs somewhere else more than likely.
Sean Salsbury is our guest. The Bears hired Shane Waldron, but you could look. I think we're all assuming Detroit's going to be open. I think we all think Ben Johnson's going to get a job.
Ben Johnson, agreed.
The Eagles, the Patriots. I all this to say, Sean, the Steelers. desirable is the Saints OC job against the other ones that, I mean, it's an NFL OC job. But if there's candidates that are in demand, that have options, how desirable is the Saints job?
Well, the pecking order, you start to go around and you think, okay, like for instance, let's say Atlanta for us, or Chicago. You say Fields, okay, is Fields it, or are we going Caleb Williams? So it starts there. Listen, when it comes to desirable, if I'm taking a job, Maddie, I want to know that there's buy-in from the ownership has a clue. Like if you're going to Carolina, you better understand you're dealing with a volatile dude in Dave Tepper, regardless that you can't even walk across the street without him wanting to fire you. So you better think of that. But if it's your only offer, you take it. But right. With the Saints and what's going on, you got to find out at the top. Okay, I trust the top. Now what's next? It goes to the quarterback, and how good is he to work with? So you say, okay, Ritter, Carr, I'll take Carr. Bryce Young, maybe down the road, and I'll take Carr. Justin Fields poses or Caleb Williams, where you get that dual threat guy that can kill you with his legs and has all kinds of ability to throw it. I think it's a desirable job because the organization's been a winning organization. They've got a veteran quarterback. Now, when we get into salary cap and assets and, tied down with money, Carr, I've told you I don't think Derek Carr's winning a Super Bowl, but right now you don't have a choice. So I think Carr can operate that, and I like Derek Carr, but I don't love him, and that's the difference for me. So for me, I'm taking the job. If it's Atlanta, and Atlanta's got weapons in London and Pitts and Bijan Robinson. So you look at where you're going and what their commitment is to offseason. What kind of quarterback do I have, and how's my personnel? And then you better learn how to get physical. So if there's one offer, they'll do it. But there's a couple out there that is it Caleb or Fields? Can you get me one? And where you're drafting? I think Washington with new ownership is a interesting gig. Because even if you go from Sam Howell, you're picking two, right. You may get Drake May. You got a guy that you get to grow with like Bobby Slowick did with C.J. Stroud. So sure. I think that has something to do with it. And sometimes veterans are set in their ways as quarterbacks and may not fit into what you're trying to do. But it starts there. Buy-in from the top of the ownership and their commitment to it. And then it comes in, whether you're a coordinator or a head coach. I'm speaking to both, but a coordinator of, can that guy operate what I'm going to be teaching, and do we have enough weapons for him, and where are we headed with this? I think the Saints is a desirable job, and I think it would figure somewhere in the middle of the ones because of the lack of assets and or money that they can't go spend on another quarterback right now.
Okay. He's on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Last thing for you, Sean. Whenever I talk about anything here, I always like to. I have an opinion. We get paid to give opinions. So it's really weird for me because people ask, "Well, Matt, who do you want to be the OC?" And I really don't have an answer. I know what I don't want. I don't want to retread.
Agreed.
I want someone off of this tree. But I don't know enough about these guys and their resume to know who I think would be the best. So let me ask you, the Saints have interviewed 7 candidates. I'll give you the names. Now, Dan Pitcher is going to be the OC in Cincinnati, so he's off. Shane Waldron has taken the job in Chicago, so he's off. So it's one of these 5 as of now. There could be more, but as of now, it's one of these 5. Brian Griese, Clint Kubiak, Gerard Johnson, Zach Robinson, and then Ronald Curry, who's the in-house candidate. Which of those 5? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Matty. I'm sorry. I think it, and Matty, I can't emphasize this enough, and I know I've said it to you on here. People should never get caught up in just because you can coach a position, the rhythm of a play caller is not easy. So it's a unique skill set. Oh, yeah, because they all know X's and O's, but the ability to call in rhythm and get going and doing all these things like that and knowing what you want is a task, and some aren't good at it, just like some coordinators that go to head coaches aren't good. I'd start with Brian Griese. There's a lot of different reasons. He's seen with football from a lot of different vantage points. He's another guy who's calm and understands the position because he wasn't a first-round pick. He was a guy that was – he doesn't have he wasn't that guy that you said he's so physically gifted. High football IQ, loves accuracy, and look what he did in San Francisco. They've been through Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo. He took the last pick of the draft and has got him as an MVP candidate. And that he knows that system. He's always believed in the run game. When he's had success in his career, they've run it. And I think that I think he's ready. I think all of them give you something. To me, Brian Griese gives you a little element because there's a little more experience and a little more, well, he's not old, a little more age and maybe hardened on his side that he can handle maybe more criticism than a young guy coming in. I'm not saying they can't. So for me, I'll start there. with Greasy because I think I like the quarterback coach to be energetic. And I don't care if you cuss me out, but a guy that I like leadership in chaos. And I think Brian Greasy lasted a while in the NFL because I think he could handle the leadership and chaos. And his old man was very similar. Maybe not as talented as the rest as a player. I think Brian's learned from some real good ones. I'd start there of those 5. Now, if you wouldn't have got rid of the other guys, it may be a different conversation. Of those 5, I'd be intrigued because if Gerard leaves, and Slowick leaves, I would want them to consider both Kubiak and Brian Greasy. Bring Brian Greasy over because I think he understands not only the position part of it, but how to call plays for a guy that's maybe not the most talented. It's one thing to call plays for Mahomes. It's another thing to call plays for Brock Purdy,
right?
And get him to operate it like Mahomes. So I think Brian Greasy's a sneaky candidate. I don't know if he'll get it, but I can tell you this: when he does, I think somebody's going to benefit from it.
I love it, man. That's perspective like that is why I love talking to you every week, man. We're so grateful to have you. He's Sean Salisbury on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Of course, Sports Talk 790 there in Houston. Man, you're the best. Always appreciate it. I think we got to do this one more time, man, to preview the Super Bowl. So I'll look forward to it.
As many times as you want to be bored talking to me, brother, I'm in.
Here,
you know
man.
That.
You're the best, Sean. We appreciate it. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Okay.
That is the one and only Sean Salisbury. This is After Further Review, brought to you by DraftKings, official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs. You do have Conference Championship weekend coming up this weekend. You want to get in on the action. DraftKings has a great way to do it if you're a new customer. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Do it right now. New customer. Even if you have other betting apps, take advantage of this. They're giving you free bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. One word. Make a $5 bet on the NFL playoffs. Any bet. Money line, spread, total, props. Doesn't matter. $5 bet on the NFL playoffs, and they'll give you $200 instantly in bonus bets. That's at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Like, why wouldn't you take advantage of this offer, even if you use something else right now? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Make a $5 bet on the NFL playoffs to give you $200 in bonus bets instantly at the DraftKings Sportsbook. And every customer, new and existing, gets a no-sweat same-game parlay on every NFL playoff day. So take advantage of it at the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. 21 plus, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Opt-in required. One no-sweat token issued per eligible day after opt-in. No-sweat bonus bet issued based on amount of losing qualifying bet. Eligibility, max reward limits, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. Licensee partner, Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. All right, y'all. It is After Further Review. Thanks to Sean Salisbury for being with us. Man, I thought that was great perspective. I'm really genuinely surprised at the answer. I didn't think his answer was going to be Brian Greasy. Brian Greasy's coached he played in the NFL, was a broadcaster for a decade. This is his second year coaching. But he's a quarterback's coach in San Francisco, and he's right. Last year he had Trey Lance and then Jimmy G and then Purdy. I mean, they went through 3 guys last year and still ended up in the NFC Championship game. And they're right back there this year. So, I mean, yes, I think Kyle Shanahan deserves a tremendous amount of credit for the success that offense has had. But you can't minimize the work that Greasy has done. But the rhythm of a play caller and everything that Sean talked about there is so good, man. I appreciate Sean Salisbury always over the time he gives us. Y'all follow him on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Just shout him out. Thank you for coming on the show. I mean, he doesn't have to do that. And he gives us his time every week, and I'm so grateful for it because it's just amazing perspective. Okay, let me not get a quick break. More honors still for Jaden Daniels. We'll get to that. And another LSU staffer, or I should say an LSU staffer, has left the program. Why it's significant, we'll tell you about that. We got Otter Locks coming up as well. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. You know where they are, but right now at Clegg's, even with all the rain, they're gearing up for spring. New shipments of plants arriving almost daily right now at Clegg's Nursery. So it's time to just plant something. And you may be a little spooked because of the cold weather and the freeze, but if you're thinking about planting trees, like fruit trees, this is you need to do it now before the weather starts getting warm. This is the time to get those trees in the ground. So you want to plant a fruit tree, something that your family will be able to enjoy for generations? Do it right now, and Clegg's has a great selection. Seed potatoes are there as well. You can get on by and see. They have Johnny Naylor's seeds. If you're a green thumb in this area, you know Johnny Naylor's seeds, and they got them. Walk in, go to the back wall, you see the full wall of Johnny Naylor seeds. It's Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
There it is,
the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered.
Understands what gets me. She thinks my tractor's sexy.
After further review powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Well, I think it'll be a very up-tempo game. You look at us last week, 54 points and a half against Ole Miss. They get 61 and a half against Kentucky. So we want to make sure we take advantage of our opportunities in transition. If we can score early, that's great. The possessions we got to eliminate, we cannot have 0 pass possessions that end with contested jump shots 8 to 10 seconds into the shot clock. It's just not a winning formula for us, and we've got to be more disciplined there.
Matt McMahon on his radio show Monday talking about the opportunity against the University of Georgia. Should be an up-and-down game. Mike White, who, of course, we know was at Florida, is now at Georgia, and he's really got Georgia playing well. Both LSU and Georgia are at 5-2 in the league heading into this one. Excuse me. And Tigers were wheels up just a bit ago. They posted a photo on social media of a couple of players getting on the plane. So Tigers are headed to Athens. Here was one more from Matt McMahon on this Georgia team that they'll be taking on tomorrow night.
I think Coach White's done a terrific job with their roster reconstruction since he took over the program. Really balanced offensive team. Have 5 guys who score between 10 and 14 a game. I think they're really explosive on the offensive end. I mean, just up at Rupp on Saturday, scored 61 points in the second half. And then as you shift over to the defensive side, they defend the 2 areas of the game, which I think are probably most important in today's modern basketball. They protect their rim really well. Opponents take a lot of threes, but I think they do a great job contesting them. They defend the 3-point arc extremely well.
That is tomorrow night, LSU and Georgia from Athens. Tonight, the Pelicans are back on the hardwood. After a little extended break, of course, they lost to Phoenix on Friday when Devin Booker went off for 52. But the Pels get a little bit of extra rest here. It's something that wasn't lost on Willie Green when he met with reporters over the weekend.
It allows us to get in the gym and work a bit more, especially going up and down against each other on some of our concepts, some areas that we know we're doing well in. We can touch on them, and then some improvement areas for us.
Pels Jazz, that's a 7 o'clock tip tonight. New Orleans is a 6.5-point favorite in this game. And New Orleans they lost to Phoenix, and at times they have struggled against some of the contenders, but this is one at home that you got to go get. You're a 6.5-point home favorite. Should be a great home crowd. Tip off here in about an hour and 20 minutes from right now from the SKC. So we'll see if the Pels can get back to their winning ways tonight at home against Utah. LSU football lost a staffer. I'll get to that in just a quick second. Let me remind you about the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. I tell you all the time about Dr. Blake Williamson, the Williamson Eye Center, how they've been around for more than 70 years. And it's not just me singing their praises. Last week, the Williamson Eye Center was in Dallas for the Star Surgical Award Banquet. And the Williamson Eye Center was recognized as with the Practice of Distinction Award, the champion for 2024. Not just me saying it. Even among their peers from coast to coast, the Williamson Eye Center is regarded as one of the top ophthalmological, sorry, it's a tough word to say, ophthalmology practice in the country. Look, here's what I know. Might be hard to say for me. I'm not a science guy. What was easy was sitting in that chair, letting Dr. Blake Williamson do my LASIK in and out, and 5.5 years later, I'm still seeing better than 2020. Just go for the consultation. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. That's Williamson, EYE.com. Okay, we learned today, a Football Scoop is reporting that LSU staff member Jeremiah Bogan is leaving to take over as Director of Player Personnel for UConn and Coach Jim Mora. This is one of those where one of the things that I think LSU has done exceptionally well, really since Les Miles was here, is build their support staff. And you might remember that last year, Will Redmond was named Football Scoop's Player Personnel Director of the Year. We have talked about guys like Sherman Wilson and the amazing work so many of these guys do off field. We talk about the on-field assistant coaches. What so many people don't see because they're not in the spotlight is the incredible work the player personnel guys do at organizing the roster, structuring a recruiting board, at recruiting. You can all these guys can recruit. They can't go off campus and home, but they can recruit guys when they come to campus. They can make phone calls and make contact. So much of their work is unheralded. And LSU's done an amazing job, which is why you see a lot of these guys get plucked away. But despite the turnover that we've seen, you continue to see LSU roll because they've identified really good people. So congrats to Jeremiah Bogan, who was Will Redmond's number 2 as the Assistant Director of Player Personnel, but now he's getting an opportunity to go be the Director of Player Personnel at UConn with Jim Mora. But that's a loss for LSU and the staff, and it'll be interesting to see with whom they replace him on this staff, because that's not going to be a role that's left empty. LSU has invested in their support staff and the people that have worked very hard to build and maintain a roster, and especially now after the erosion at the end of the Ogeron era, where, we all know the numbers. You were left with 40 scholarship players, whatever it was, to be where you are now at a place where you just had another Heisman Trophy winner, and you're trying to build toward being a championship team and a playoff contending team as you expand to a 12-team playoff. Speaking of your Heisman winner, another day has brought yet another award for Jayden Daniels. Today it was announced Jayden won the Manning Award, which, as we all know, is the only national award that does consider bowl and playoff performances. Jayden Daniels didn't play in the bowl game, and he still won the Manning Award. That's how incredible his season was. The other finalists were Carson Beck, Dylan Gabriel, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, Jalen Milroe, Bo Nix, Michael Penix, Jordan Travis, and Caleb Williams. But Jaden Daniels becomes the third Manning Award winner in LSU football history. Jamarcus won it back in 2006. Of course, Joe Burrow in 2019, and now congrats to Jaden Daniels, who won the Manning Award. My goodness. And when you look at the awards Jaden has won this year.
Another one.
I mean, dude, the All-America honors, the Heisman, obviously, and the litany of awards, conference and national. I do sometimes think about this. Like, what does your trophy room look like? Like, seriously, I mean, where do you put all of that? I know I've told this story before. One day, this is a long time ago, but one day I was listening to Dan Patrick, and Dan Patrick was interviewing Wayne Gretzky, and Wayne Gretzky told this story. Dan asked him a question. He was like, where do you keep, this was years ago, like, where do you keep all of your awards? And Wayne Gretzky said, well, my parents' house or my dad's house in Canada, he's got like this whole wing on his house where it's just all my stuff. And they leave it open where people can come just walk through and look at all of it, which is really incredible to think. But, I mean, Daniels won the Heisman, the Walter Camp, the AP National Player of the Year, Unitas Golden Arm Award, Davey O'Brien, Sporting News Player of the Year. He was a consensus All-American, SEC Offensive Player of the Year, first team All-SEC, now the Manning Award. I mean, all of these have big trophies and plaques. Like, where you put all that stuff? I mean, I guess Jaden's parents are going to have to come up with some plan. I did ask Jaden after he won the Heisman when I was in New York. I asked him where he's going to put the trophy. And he said it's going to his mom's house. So at least we know where that award's going. All right, y'all. It is after further review. We do appreciate our friends at the Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana, our title sponsor of our Tuesday shows all throughout the year. Ashleigh Gnat was here in hour one. Shay Dixon was here last hour. Thanks to Sean Salisbury here just a bit ago. Remember, if you miss anything, AFR On Demand, presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org. That's golf.breck.org. Okay, one thing left to do. Jimmy is busy today, but he did send us an Otterlocks recording. So we'll find out what our plays are tonight for Otterlocks when we come back to put a button on this Tuesday edition of AFR. Don't you move.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. If you are thinking about selling your home, why in the world would you call anyone other than the realtor that literally sells more homes than anyone? Call Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666. Oh, and on top of that, might I also mention that Darren James is now partnered with LPT Realty. LPT stands for Listing Power Tools. All of the tools at your benefit when your home is listed with an LPT agent like Darren James. You want to experience the LPT difference? You want to know why LPT is the fastest growing real estate company literally in history? They've gone from 1 to 7,000 realtors in 1 year. You want to find out why? Call Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666. He'll get your home sold. Guaranteed. It's Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ford F-150 lifted trucks. $10,000 off new Ford F-150 and 3.9% financing. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Happy New Year from your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next level? Get the boat of your dreams, and that's where Front to Back comes into play. You want that spot lock trolling motor that's going to keep you right there on the water where you need to be. How about some forward-facing sonar that actually shows you the fish before you even cast? Custom stereo jobs, all of it. Sherman family's been doing it for 38 years. Go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
You should just let me know when we're back.
You're back live on air, in the flesh.
I don't believe you.
Well, you are.
Okay, we're back. All right, down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. It's time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So Otter is, where is he? He's at EJ's.
Senior night for soccer? Senior night for soccer. That's, yeah.
But the Otter was good enough to record Otter Locks and send them to us. So let's see what we're betting on tonight.
Looking at 3 games tonight in college basketball. First starting off in the SEC. High scoring. Okay. High scoring. Well, the highest scoring team in the country, Kentucky Wildcats, don't play a whole lot of defense. That total is inviting at 155. Should be a high-tempo game. They're also number 2 in the country in assist-to-turnover ratio. Much more proficient offensively than what Calipari's teams are usually at this time. But this South Carolina team has been really tough as of late. Coming off a double-digit win on the road at Fayetteville. Arkansas is terrible this year, but still, it's a lot of points now that's gotten up to 6. Like South Carolina in front of a raucous crowd at home to keep it close against the Kentucky Wildcats. I do think it'll be a lot of scoring in this one. Wisconsin goes to Minneapolis-St. Paul to take on Minnesota. Minnesota is down this year. This is between 3.5 and 4 right now. We're going to lay it on the road with the Badgers. Just outside the top 10 NET. Minnesota barely in the top 100. Don't like laying points in the road a whole lot, but this is a short number, taking Wisconsin against Minnesota. And then a team that is completely different, home and away. That's Nebraska Cornhuskers. They need something to get over the hump. Need a road win at some point. They don't have one to this point, but they do have a bunch of quality home wins, including double-digit win over then number 1 ranked Purdue. Ohio State's not close to Purdue this year. Nebraska minus 3.5, 4 at home against Ohio State. As always, if it's on the half a point, buy it, whether you're taking plus or minus under 6 points. So, again, those half a points came in real handy as you had 4 over the weekend fall on the half a point. South Carolina, Wisconsin, and Nebraska, 3 picks for Tuesday's Otter Locks.
All right. By the way, that Wisconsin line, which he gave it at 3.5, 4, is down to 2.5. So you can buy it to 2 right now. I think it's 2 minus 120. So you get great value there. So 3 plays from the Otter. He's got South Carolina, buy it to, so it's at 5.5 right now. DraftKings buy it to 6. Wisconsin's at 2.5, 5-2. And then Nebraska is at 4. So Nebraska -4. South Carolina +6. Wisconsin, which is -2. Even better number than when Otter gave it to us. When did he record that? About an hour ago or so?
Yeah, about an hour ago.
So South Carolina +6. Wisconsin -2. Nebraska -4. Those are Jimmy's plays here for Otter Locks. All right, we're brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. You know where to find them with 17 locations across South Louisiana. You know, one of the reasons I love telling you about Shawbills is because there's a lot of places you can go to buy tires. There are box stores, membership clubs, other tire stores, dealerships. You can go to a lot of places to buy tires. But at Shawbills, they're going to work to get you the best price possible on the best tires. These aren't like off-brand tires. We're talking Michelin, Firestone, BF Goodrich, Bridgestone, name brand tires, and they're going to get it to you at wholesale prices. Dealer offers, along with the manufacturer's offers, they work to get you the best price possible. They guarantee it. They have Charlie's price match guarantee as well over at Shawbills. But most importantly, they treat you like family. There's just something to be said for it, man. Buying tires, getting work done on your vehicle can be intimidating when you don't know what you're talking about. They always make sure that you know what's up, and they treat you like family. Love going to Shawbills. Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, we keep you rolling. Okay, y'all, it's going to do it for us here on this Tuesday edition. Ashleigh Gnat, Hour 1, Shay Dixon, last hour, Sean Salsbury earlier this hour. If you missed anything, catch AFR on demand. However you get your podcast, just search After Further Review, or you can go to the AFR YouTube channels. Muse, Paulie, I appreciate it. Looking forward to being back here for a Hump Day edition of AFR tomorrow. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
All right, as we get on down the road, hey, remember, Mardi Gras is right around the bend. And for a lot of you, your kids are going to be off of school for Mardi Gras. So what are you going to do with your kiddos? I got an idea. Send them to Traction. Traction always has holiday camps, holiday baseball camps, holiday speed camps. So they got their Mardi Gras camps. Get on to TractionSports.com right now to register for their Mardi Gras camps. The baseball camp and the speed camp, they've got full and half-day options. So whether you want your son or daughter to go for a half day or for the whole day, you can send them to Traction. They can get better at Traction and, of course, got something to do while they're off of school. Remember, also, when we talk about performance training, a lot of times I think people are intimidated by what they think pricing may be of performance training. Traction has reinvented the game for that. So if you want individual training for your son or daughter, you can get it over at Traction. TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Remember, it's Traction, where champions are made.
Happy New Year from your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next level? Get the boat of your dreams, and that's where Front to Back comes into play. You want that spot lock trolling motor that's going to keep you right there on the water where you need to be. How about some forward-facing sonar that actually shows you the fish before you even cast? Custom stereo jobs, all of it. Sherman family's been doing it for 38 years. Go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at